The guys, yeah, no kidding. I mean, the guys had Q on this morning. You'll hear some of that a little bit later on in the show in terms of his status and everything moving forward if they get to a divisional series. But that is the second time in a month where, yeah, he's had cramps, but, man, was he great. Was he great yesterday?
What stood out about it is yesterday the Royals won a pitcher's duel against Corbin Burns, who has pitched in these type of games, not often, but has pitched in these types of games, is a multi-time all-star. He's been one of the 5 best pitchers in baseball for years. And the Royals threw out Cole Reagins, who's only been a starter, really, honestly, at the major league level for a year and a half. Sam Long, who doesn't have any postseason experience. Chris Bubich, who doesn't have any postseason experience. Lucas Urseg, who doesn't have any postseason experience. And what did they do? Shoved the ball down their throat. And that stood out. Cole Reagins, in his very first ever playoff start, got 8 strikeouts in 6 innings on just 80 pitches and dominated the Orioles lineup from start until finish. He had his best stuff that he's had in 6 weeks last night. And whether it was that Ursa got in a little bit of trouble, and according to Q last night in postgame, Salvi came out and calmed the waters, that final changeup, nasty. No business. You couldn't hit that with a tennis racket.
It does feel good because what you're saying is right. You know, you always wonder when guys have it maybe pitched in that kind of spot, and you went through each guy.
Yeah, those guys don't have any experience.
There's part of you that's like, okay, like, you know, maybe you just don't have the makeup to handle that situation, and that was, of course, not the case. They all delivered. It was sensational, and it puts them in an incredible spot for something really special to happen later on today, right here on 96.5 The Fan here in Denny Matthews. Hopefully call another win and get this team in the American League Divisional Series against the New York Yankees, who are waiting for a game in the Bronx on Saturday night. And now, to me, you really experience the benefit of the rotation. It was one thing just to have Reagins pitch because we know he's capable of being great, and he was great. But we looked at the Orioles and we said, hey, Corbin Burns is the real deal. I mean, he was terrific yesterday. And he backed up all the hype and everything and all the discussion, what he's been throughout the last couple of years of his career. But now the rest of the pitching matchup, oh, boy, does it ever favor the Royals. Whether it's Lugo today, if you need a Game 3, hopefully not. Then you have Waka. I mean, now it's beautiful. And we know that the Orioles are going to empty the tank today no matter what happens because they can't lose. It's a do-or-die game for them. The Royals have the luxury of not having to be in that spot because you take Game 1 on the road. I thought, for a pitcher's duel always is going to be interesting from a crowd perspective, but like from what we could tell, and admittedly there was a lot of noise here. We were watching the game, but maybe you were in a different spot than me, so maybe you could pick up. I didn't feel like you went about the crowd not being a factor in the game. That was that yesterday. I know it's not the same as football when we talk about crowds, but for that game, you didn't really give the Orioles much hope. There was 2 moments when I mentioned Reagins getting out of a jam or two. There weren't many moments where you felt like the Royals couldn't handle the pressure, both at the plate or, of course, with any of the guys that came out of the bullpen as well. It was just a sensational win. And a month and a half ago, or even 3 weeks ago, if I would have told you the Royals were going to be in a playoff game and win 1-0, you would have said you're out of your mind. You would have said with this bullpen, you think they're winning a 1-0 playoff game? No chance. How many times do we say that's going to be the Achilles heel of this team when they get knocked out? The bullpen. And what do? They didn't give up a single run. Nobody gave up a run yesterday.
I told you the way I feel about the bullpen is so dramatically different than the way I felt for the first 135 Gold, 140 games. Hell, I don't know. Like a long time. But we felt better about the 9th inning, starting at the trade deadline. Urseg came in, was immediately throwing gas. We're like, okay, problem solved on the 9th inning. And then the 7th and 8th was still a disaster there for a while. We're like, I don't like any of this. Once they decided Bubich's turn and the major league level came around, you're like, oh, he's not really letting up any runs or any hits, and he's good against righties. And we're like, well, this might just work after all. And then once Sam Long found it, it's like, well, they can go 7, 8, 9. Now, look, I'll just be honest with you. If Seth Lugo is at 80 pitches through 6 innings tonight, I'm going to want him to pitch the 8th or the 7th still, right? Maybe the 8th, right? Depending on how it goes. My strategy on that hasn't changed, but my confidence in their ability to win that way has. You realize, I think it was Rainey Gisele who put out a really good stat yesterday. The Royals have won like 20 consecutive, it's a little bit more than that, like 20 consecutive postseason games when they're up after the 7th, or after the 6th. You're like, this is insane. Now, look, a good stretch of that was HGH. Technically, the Royals have a 3-game winning streak going in the postseason.
That's right.
Because their last win was, before this one, their last postseason win was Game 5 of the World Series against the Mets to win it. So, like, The Royals are on a winning streak in the postseason.
Well,
they just found a way. It stood up. Reagins was the most important because I'll be honest, Burns was great. Burns absolutely had it. This wasn't just, and we'll talk about the offense in a minute. It wasn't just Burns. It wasn't just like Royals offense stinky. Burns was great. They needed Reagins to have
Absolutely.
that kind of performance, and he matched it.
And we'll talk about the decision, too, with the managers in that game because you're right, Corbin Burns was sensational, but they chose, and he chose, it sounds like, not to walk Bobby Witt Jr. in that crucial spot yesterday and get to Vinnie Pasquantino. Instead, they let Bobby Witt Jr., who's going to be the runner-up at MVP conversation, step up, and Bobby delivered, of course, with the RBI single that was required and ultimately the only run of the game, won the game for the Royals. We're going to talk to Cody Decker, former professional baseball player. He now does radio over for Mad Dog Radio, Beetle and Decker. We had him on out in Vegas. I want to talk to him about yesterday's game and also just the potential that could be a Royals-Yankees matchup down the road as well. We're going to get to that in about 5 minutes.
It was a single wild card game, right? So, like, in the scale of important playoff baseball games, pretty mild, right? I mean, one wild card game, there's a DS, a CS, a World Series, a million things after it. I'm telling you, that makes me just as stretched as watching the fourth quarter of a Chiefs playoff game. And I know that it shouldn't fundamentally, but part of that is just like the Chiefs anymore make me less nervous they just make me less nervous as a person because I've seen it. I've seen it a bunch of times. All they ever do is win.
Of course.
Oh, no, they're down in the fourth. Instead of, like, panicking, I start going betting the Chiefs' money line over on, DraftKings or something instead, right?
I
just
also
find
know
other
in baseball
ways,
how quick it can shift. I mean, in baseball, you could be up in yesterday's case 1-0, and all of it, one pitch, it's a home run, and it's a whole new game. I mean, if the Orioles tie that game, I think we probably know how that ends up. It probably doesn't result in a win in that postseason momentum and all that. I do believe it exists, and the Royals right now have the momentum. Vern in postgame, if you were listening to 96.5 The Fan, driving home from the game, driving home from the watch party and everything, or just getting home from work because the way the game played out, that game moved quick.
Yeah,
man.
New baseball, baby.
Yeah, and
you get it over in a couple
of
hours.
It's a small sample size, but 8-0, man. 8-0 when you win that first
game
playoff
format,
in the new format. You win that first game, game one. And I know that happens in every series. It's always in your favor. You take game one.
Well, not 8-0, not 100%.
Not perfect. And so the trend is on the Royals' side heading into today, and if needed, even Thursday. Hopefully they can wrap it up today, though, when they take on the Orioles. And, again, it'll be Seth Lugo on the bump, another guy that you love to have out there.
That stat, it's funny enough, it goes one step further because 7 of the 8 times they swept. Not only are they 8-0, but 7 of the 8 times the series was over like today. Just watch Royals win. On to the ALCS and the New York Yankees. And not that it matters from like I just think the Royals are the kind of team that needs some things to curve in their direction in order to make this playoff run a magical one versus just a playoff run. They needed that win, or that loss actually technically, by the Twins on Friday night so that they could set up Reagins and Lugo for this series. If they could just win today instead of needing somebody tomorrow, well, then they get Waka to go on Saturday against the Yankees, and then they're right back in, Reagins and Lugo. So they still get their their top 3 starters against the Yankees in that series. I think if you're a team like the Royals, sometimes you need those little things to keep going your way in order to keep winning these series.
That's why Friday night was so crucial. Friday night was so crucial to set up the rotation. We saw the benefit of that yesterday, maybe today with Lugo, and I think you're 100% right. If you can wrap it up today, then you get Waka on Saturday in the Bronx taking on the Yankees. Let's go out to the hotline, though, here on Cody and Gold. We welcome in Cody Decker from Sirius XM, Mad Dog Radio, Beetle, and Decker. We had Cody on last, I think, in Vegas out at Circa. We were enjoying ourselves out there. Cody, we're having a great time in KC right now, feeling good about yesterday. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm feeling just as good as you guys are, man.
Well, you are a former member of the Royals organization. Do you like seeing them succeed?
Yes, I do. I was a big fan of that organization. Yeah, it was heartbreaking when they told me after they flew me to Kansas City that I am going to Omaha, and then they traded me roughly 3 hours later.
Ugh.
But don't think for a second I don't support this organization. I do. Good people, good fan base. It's a great city. How can you not love the Royals and everything they've accomplished this year? I'll freely admit this. Now, everyone can come at me with their pitchforks all they want. I did not see a playoff run this year. I saw a step forward, but, man, this was 5 steps forwards, and I couldn't be more excited for the team right now. I think they're going to go ahead and take this wild card series. And like you said, if they win this game today, they have a hell of a pitching matchup going into the weekend against the Yankees. By the way, that 5-day off scenario, I had Eduardo Rodriguez on my show yesterday. He feels the same way I do. The Yankees got a lot of swing and miss, man. This is very much available for the Royals taking if they get it done tonight.
We have played the audio of you from August when you joined us talking about that very thing multiple times, Cody, where you mentioned if you were to face a team in the postseason, maybe who would you like to see? And you mentioned the exact scenario back in August that, hey, the New York Yankees, you give them some time off and they're a little rusty and swing and miss. All that could contribute to, an opportunity for the Royals, and that's maybe the team that they want to see. I know they got to handle business today, but that sets up where it could be a good thing for the Royals.
It really could be. And make no mistake, I do think that the Yankees are the best team in the league. But I don't need to tell you guys, it's not about the best team. If this is the best team to win the World Series every year, the Dodgers would have like 10 World Series, and they do not.
What do you make of, typically, and you've watched a lot of baseball over your years, seen a lot of players go through it. Do you think when it comes to the playoffs and, that clutch factor or performing in the playoffs, you either just, have it or you don't? I mean, Cole Reagins was in his first ever playoff start and dominated. Maikel Garcia has been bad, honestly, for the Royals for the last 60 days, and seemingly like his cousin, Alcides Escobar, turns it on a little different when the lights are on. Is it just as simple as you have it or you don't, and no amount of time is going to make a difference, or is there an advantage for these teams who have, maybe played in a few of these?
The answer is yes and no to everything you just asked. The real answer, I think, at the end of the day, is that baseball is just weird. I mean, people come and rise to the occasions at the weirdest moments, and also guys get cold at the weirdest moments. As much as I want to say, yeah, now make no mistake, Reagins absolutely dominated that game yesterday, and it was a phenomenal watch to see. But let's be real clear. A lot of teams going into the playoffs, the bats get cold. It's a combination of a lot of things. It's a different environment. It's a different crowd. It's a different exposure. Hell, these are teams right now, specifically the Royals. I mean, I don't think I need to tell you guys, the Royals aren't moving a ton of paper as far as the national media landscape. So this is really a coming out party for every member of this team, except for maybe Salvador Perez, because he's maybe the only guy that the most of the country actually knows. Same with Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. needs to be a star, and this is an opportunity for him to become a legit star. Don't think he's not one of the best in baseball. He absolutely is. But I want people to talk about him the way we started talking about Mike Trout 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think somebody put out that unfortunately for Mike Trout, that I think Bobby Witt Jr. already has as many playoff wins or more playoff wins than Mike Trout had in his career. That's just sad to say, right?
Very, very, very sad to say.
Cody Decker joining us here on Cody and Gold. You mentioned Bobby Witt Jr. there as well. What do you make of the decision there? I know Brandon Hyde, the Orioles manager, was asked about it. He said he left it up to Corbin Burns, but they pitched to Bobby Witt Jr. there instead of walking him to bring up Vinnie Pasquantino, who hadn't hit in a month.
You know how this goes, man. I think they made the right decision by going after him. It's not like he hit a 3-run home run. He hit an RBI single, and it was a 1-0 ball game. I think if you give him the opportunity to make that decision today, he won't make the same mistake twice, and he'll probably pitch around him and make the rest of the team beat him. But it won't matter because you put that man on base, barring the fact that you might be clogging the base if there's somebody else on first base, and so there's runners on first and second. Bobby Witt Jr. is just going to take second base. And if that happens, all of a sudden you got chaos on the base path. You have yourselves movement. And I don't think that's something that the Orioles want. Just because Bobby Witt Jr. can absolutely be in scoring position with nobody on base and he is just in the box by himself, you don't want Bobby Witt Jr. on the base paths in a playoff scenario either.
Is this why the Royals do better when they get to the – look, they don't get to the postseason often, Cody, admittedly. I've been in Kansas City my whole life. I get it. But when they get to the postseason, they seem to have a lot more success than other teams. Yesterday with Baltimore, Ryan O'Hearn gets on base with a walk. They got no one to just get on the base paths and actually do something for them. Score from first on a double, steal a base so that a single's away, score on a pass ball. Are there teams that make the mistake of not structuring their playoff rosters around the need for one run matters more in the postseason?
I don't know if it's necessarily a mistake. More so, the Royals just need to build themselves differently. I don't think it's out of the realm of obviousness that this is a team that doesn't spend a ton of money. That last year kind of a bit of an outlier. But like this offseason, Juan Soto's going to be a free agent. Are the Royals going to be in on him? Absolutely not. They have to build.
I mean, I hope so, but probably not.
I mean, I would love it, and he would look so good in that unit. Let's be real clear. It
Probably
just
not.
ain't happening. So they got to build from within, and they have to build different ways. And one of the ways they've already shown, the proven model from the previous regime, is basically just trying to create yourselves a god-tier bullpen, which they have done a pretty good job of getting a starting staff, making some interesting moves. But even though they spent $100 million this offseason, it's not like every name that they got was like, oh, man, this is the one that's going to do it. It's not about getting the best players. It's about getting the right players. And this Royals front office has done a phenomenal job of getting the right players. And it's not necessarily being that team that wins 9 out of 10 every single 10 games, but winning 6 out of 10 and being consistently winning 6 out of 10, squeaking in a 7 out of 10 type of scenario. This is a very sustainable model for this team in a very tough division because it's a similar model to what the Cleveland Guardians are doing. It's a similar model now that the Detroit Tigers are doing. I think this is going to be one hell of a dogfight in this division for years to come. And I think that the Royals have everything available to them right now to win a World Series. We'll just see how it plays out because, one, they got to win this one against the Orioles, and we can't pretend that the Orioles are a bad team. They are not. They're just playing bad baseball for the last 30 days, and it's a bad time to get cold. Then they're going up against the Yankees. If they can catch the Yankees on a bit of a cold streak, this just might be a team of destiny. I just don't know what we're going to see out of it yet. But, man, as a baseball fan, as a supporter of the Kansas City Royals, I'm all for it, bro.
Somebody that got a lot of people excited yesterday going into the game was Vinnie Pasquantino. The fact that a month after breaking his thumb, he was able to be in the lineup. I know he didn't come up with a hit yesterday, but just speak to how amazing that recovery is, and then also the challenges that he's probably facing right now just from a timing perspective, how hard it is for him to jump right back into the lineup with no rehab assignment or anything and try to contribute to this team.
Dude, I just told you how hard it's going to be for the Yankees to take 5 days off. Imagine 35 days off. But listen, his bat just being a presence in the lineup, we already saw it actually come to fruition yesterday. He didn't need to get the hit. He just needed to be there, so they pitched to Bobby Witt Jr. Now that that's worked out, hopefully he's gotten himself 4 at-bats under his belt. He can kind of get his timing a little bit there and maybe get on base on his own merits. But so far, just his overall presence has helped them win a baseball game.
I want to ask you one small thing about something he mentioned yesterday from a former professional standpoint. He'd mentioned in his press conference he had to change to a lighter-colored bat, and it was like throwing him off watching his swing through the zone. I don't know why. It must be like the composite or makeup of the bat relative to how he holds it in his thumb. Does that make a big difference for baseball players, the color of their bat?
Listen, baseball players are weird, dude. It could be anything. It could be we didn't like how we sat on the toilet yesterday, so we have to change how we sat on the toilet yesterday. Trust me, we're superstitious to a fault. It's stupid. It makes no sense. The color of the bat has no bearing on the hitter life or the swing. But you know what? If he thinks it does, you betcha it does.
Last one for you, Cody. Tigers, you mentioned them. They're playing as good a baseball as anybody. How do you see that playing out? Do you think both AL Central teams get into the next round?
I think they're both going to get to the next round. I currently have both of them ending in the next round, but I would very much like to be wrong. The Detroit Tigers are a very, very exciting little surprise. Who actually saw that coming, especially going into September? I'm always a fan of watching the Minnesota Twins collapse. I'm not even certain why I like watching the Minnesota Twins collapse. It's just a hobby of mine every single September, and why would we stop this year?
Cody Decker from SiriusXM's Mad Dog Radio. You can hear him on Beetle and Decker. Appreciate it, man, and we'll have to see you out in Vegas sometime soon.
Bro, I'm always in Vegas. Come find me. Let's do some stuff. Go Royals.
There you go. That's Cody Decker with us here on 96.5 The Fan. Really, really great insight from him, and always fun to have him on the show. He does a great job over on SiriusXM, and yeah, we had him on the show. He brought up the example again of the Yankees, and that's in August. It was one thing that stood out, and it stands out even more, which is if you can get through this one, maybe you catch the Yankees and you get Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, and they're a little off on their timing for a game or two. Doesn't mean that they're not going to heat up eventually.
But if it's one or two wins you get there.
And you're on the road in the Bronx, and we'll have plenty of time hopefully tomorrow to talk about that because we need the Royals to get this thing taken care of in Baltimore first. But that's something to keep in mind if, in fact, the Royals can handle their business.
Speaking briefly of the Royals before we continue to talk Royals, obviously as Bobby Witt Jr. came through yesterday, and we can talk more about that, somebody's covering the Bally Sports bankruptcy hearing. Right? So, they fire, they've talked about their restructure and all their Chapter 11 stuff. As part of that, Bally Sports announced that they are rejecting all of their MLB team contracts other than the Atlanta Braves. So now we don't even know where we're watching the Royals next year.
Isn't that where the whole Amazon thing might come into play?
Maybe. I'm just letting you know. That's future Cody's problem.
Yeah.
Today, I get to watch the Royals on ESPN.
Yeah, and
in a playoff baseball game.
The numbers came out yesterday for the season, though, for Major League Baseball. All national MLB TV partners were up. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, most watched in 5 years. MLB.TV record viewership up 14% in terms of minutes watched. International viewership up 18%. So
you can remember there's less minutes to watch in a baseball game now too, and they set a new record for minutes watched.
Mm-hmm.
That means all the pace of play stuff is working. I know some people might complain that the game is too quick now because it is hard. It's hard to get a hot dog. I think it's a worse in-stadium experience because the game is shorter, but it's better at home. There's no argument it's better at home to kind of fly through those things. I don't want to risk getting a hot dog and missing 2 innings of action. But at home, what's the difference? So just go to the kitchen and move on.
Well, if you just want food brought to you while you're watching the game, then just come out to Jefferson's this afternoon. We're going to be hanging out till 2 on the air, and then we hand things off to Vern. We're going to do this whole thing just like yesterday. Baseball, though, at 3:28, I guess, is the first pitch instead of 3:08 officially today. But we've got our watch party. Everybody from 610, I did it for the first time, 96.5 The Fan.
That was a pretty good run for you, man.
I know.
Not bad. You did it.
I made it a month and a half without slipping up.
Well, I kept saying Club 610, so
yeah,
I slipped up a bunch.
I made it
early.
a month and a half. I'm 96.5 The Fan. We're going to be hanging out here. We've got $1 rally shots, $3 Royal Blue refreshers, $12 Miller and Coors buckets. And if you came yesterday here, I'm telling you, you have to come back. I mean, you mentioned
Superstition, man. You heard him.
Superstitions. That applies to fans as well. So we hope to see you guys out here. But up next, let's talk more about Corbin Burnes and what he did to the lineup. And another name is now being discussed that could be traded in the NFL, and, of course, people want to talk about the Chiefs trading for said player. We'll do that next.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
The Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and our 2 soccer teams, the Current and St. Louis City SC, are all endorsing Amendment 2. Here's why you should support it too. Right now, Missouri sports fans are taking their money and placing their bets in Kansas and Illinois. We're losing our money to other states, money that could be invested in our schools. Amendment 2 fixes that. By legalizing sports betting, Amendment 2 will generate over $100 million for Missouri schools over the next 5 years. And there's a strong constitutional guarantee ensuring the revenue from sports betting will go to education. Kansas and Illinois know sports betting is a winner for their fans and taxpayers. It's time for Missouri to get into the game. Amendment 2 means over $100 million for Missouri schools. Join the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, Current, and St. Louis City SC in supporting Amendment 2. Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings, located off 105th in Metcalf and Overland Park, Friday, October 4th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m., celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Light. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects, but you got the idea. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's.
Ready to take your business to the next level? In today's fast-paced marketing world, staying ahead isn't just an option. It's essential. That's where scale marketing comes in. We don't just help you compete, we make sure you win. Whether you're looking to grow, expand, or overcome stagnation, Scale Marketing is your performance marketing partner. We specialize in helping mid-sized B2C companies with teams of over 100 thrive. Scale Marketing is a full-service agency offering expertise in performance marketing across traditional and digital platforms, creative production, and data analytics. We treat your money like it's our own, ensuring every dollar is spent with purpose and every decision is driven by data. Our knowledgeable team stays ahead of the trends, crafting strategies that align with your business goals. Partnering with Scale Marketing means gaining a dedicated strategist and a team committed to your success. If you're ready to lead the market, visit scalemarketing.com today. That's scalemarketing.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up. You can go farther and save on full synthetic with our oil change special. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline Advanced Full Synthetic with an STP Extended Life oil filter for just $35.99. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Your coworkers might annoy you, but we promise we won't. Download the free Odyssey app and you can listen to us at work while you tackle your inbox or get ready for another meeting that probably could have been an email. Tune in late? You can rewind your favorite live shows to catch what you missed. And with Chapters, easily jump to the topics that you care about most, like the latest updates from your team. Your sports talk, your way. The Odyssey app. Download it today.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
So here's Junior with 2 down. Swinging a ground ball, base hit left field. Bobby Witt Jr. drives in Michael Garcia. And how many times did we say that in the first half? And the Royals lead 1-0 in the 6th.
That is, of course, all they would need yesterday. A 1-0 win for the Royals in Game 1 of the American League Wild Card against the Orioles right here on 96.5 The Fan. Just 5 hits for the Royals, just 5 hits for the O's. But
one team got a run, the other team didn't.
Bobby Witt Jr. stepped up, came through, and we'll talk more about that particular plate appearance in a little bit as well. Don't forget, we are out at Jefferson's in Lenexa today, broadcasting till 2 o'clock, and then we got a watch party throughout the rest of the afternoon. A little bit later, we got an extra half hour today in terms of waiting till the start time. For whatever reason, it was on 3:08 yesterday. Today it has to be 3:28.
It'd be 3:08 tomorrow if they had to play, so baseball's
I don't know why
weird.
it's 3:28.
Also, why 8? Why 38?
But that happens.
It's like the NCAA tournament times. It's weird.
Yeah, that's a TV thing. That happens. I mean, the NFL used to do that a lot with stuff, but yeah, it's an exact time. There's a reason for it. Although I was talking with our boss about this yesterday. It's not like, and maybe they will today, and this is why. It's not like ESPN broadcast had like a studio show or something.
No, they didn't kick over until 3 o'clock.
Yeah, so
8 minutes of pregame essentially.
So I don't know why the game is 3:28. Are they thinking that there's a clinching scenario in the other game, and so people might be staying and watching? I don't know. I mean, that game's not going to – the Astros game won't be over, just like it wasn't over in time, even if they wait 30 minutes. So
Small complaint about the broadcast,
okay.
and then we can talk about Corbin Burns. McDonough talked too much.
See, I couldn't hear it as much. We were
Baseball is supposed to be in about like the moments, the stationary moments before the next thing. He's out here telling me about what a good job the umpire crew did and why they've earned their spot in the postseason. I don't care, man. There's a pitch going on. Reagins is actively throwing McDonough. I don't care about what a nice job the umpiring crew did this year to earn their spot in the postseason. Just leave that off the docket.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. I mean, we had the audio on, obviously.
The cameraman was having a hard time.
That, yes.
He was fighting.
100%.
He was fighting.
Early on in that game in particular, I mean, some of those, the balls would go in the outfield. Like, you're like, what? The replay would catch it, but live, it was terrible. I think there was definitely some issues with the camera crew out there. But that's why, just you can sync up your TV with 96.5 The Fan. I know some people were doing that, so you can listen to Denny and Ryan, etc., while watching the game. And then you don't have to worry about the ESPN broadcasters during said game or anything like that. But let's talk about that offense of the Royals and Corbin Burns, because Corbin Burns deserves a ton of credit, too. We knew going into this game the quality of pitcher he is.
AL pitcher of the month in September.
He's going to get a massive payday again in the offseason somewhere else, I think.
He's fine, honestly.
He was really, really good yesterday. He made the one mistake. Bobby Wood Jr. took advantage of his decision to actually pitch to him. And I know Cody Decker is correct. Like, hey, it's one of those where Bobby Wood Jr. you gave him a single. You didn't give him a home run. It wasn't that bad of a pitch.
But
I was surprised, though, that we'll talk about Brandon Hyde later, the manager of the O's, but that Corbin Burns, they decided to go after him, knowing that Vinnie was on deck. But that was also why it was great to have Vinnie back in the lineup, because if
it were Yuli Gurriel, they wouldn't have thrown to Bobby Wood Jr. I mean, plain and simple. They wouldn't have done it.
Yuli got a hit yesterday, though.
I am still – I understand, but there's a difference, between the threat of Vinnie and the threat of Renfroe or Gurriel or some of the other guys who have been hitting behind him in that situation. I know I have to give some credit to Corbin Burns. He is a great pitcher. He was pitching as a great pitcher, but – if you think that this is going to just be like, I'm just going to wash this one away after watching this team not hit for a month, that ain't going to happen. The offense still looks lost, still looks like he can't buy a hit. Yesterday, the problem wasn't even what the problem's been the last 2 weeks, which is runners in scoring position. The problem was yesterday is no one was on base. There wasn't a single player who was threatening typically. There were two threats, I thought, by the Orioles. In the third inning, obviously, Reagins had a couple of guys on and got out of the jam, leadoff double, right? And they were unable to take advantage of it. And then in the fifth, a couple of guys on and one out. And, of course, Reagins, again, worked through that problem. The Royals, they look like they're still free swinging too much. Like, Salvador Perez is still swinging at pitches 17 feet outside the plate. When he's locked in,
he did that, man.
He's spinning. He's always swung at those some, but, he spits on them a little bit more, right, when he's going a little better. Vinny looked like a guy who hadn't hit in a month, looked like he could use a few more swings in order to get comfortable, and there were a lot of other just plate appearances, right, in the course of the game. What I really wanted was, once Burns was out, and he came out after they got a runner on, can you stack a couple of hits now? Can you find one now that Burns is the hell out of here? And it went just as quick as it did as Burns. They were going 1, 2, 3. So I'd like to see a little more offense today if I feel like it's snapping back into form.
Of course, and I don't know if we're going to see another 1-0 game either way today, but some of this is playoff baseball, though. I mean, you could tell it's just a good old playoff pitchers duel. You see this a lot in October, as Cody Decker was saying, for a variety of reasons. You see bats and offense kind of tick down a little bit. You've got your
same in playoff football. Points and runs are always harder to come by.
There's just a lot of reasons for it, and I think in this series it's even more possible to have another game that's similar, low scoring, because you have a 3-game series, and so your rotation, you're not worried about who your fourth pitcher is. It is your best 3 pitchers. And in the Royals' case, you have 2 of them being all-stars this year. Yesterday, the Orioles had their best pitcher, one of the best pitchers in baseball, go. There's a decent drop-off from Corbin Burns to their next guy up in the rotation, and that's hopefully what the advantage will be today for the Royals. Now, the Royals are underdogs, if you were wondering. They're going to go up against Zach Eflin, who came over in a mid-season trade,
still a road game
from the Tampa Bay Rays.
And he's had a nice run since the Rays, but he's not as good as Lugo.
No. But he's not a pushover by any means. But the Royals have the advantage in the rotation again today. Now, I mean, just
all their bullpens available still.
Bullpen still advantage Royals, and then offense. generally speaking, yeah, you would say the O's, but when they're going up against quality pitching, they didn't string together enough hits yesterday. There were a couple loud outs, but that was it.
Did it give you a little bit of – I think everyone took – there were two things on social media yesterday that warmed my heart a little bit. They were back in postseason baseball and warmed my heart. One was an overseas fan who had one like on the tweet, and then somebody found it and sent it to me. One like on a tweet that just said, the Royals have some dude on their broadcast who sounds 100 years old, and it's the best. And he was just so excited about it. I'm like, that's Denny Matthews. He's 81, and he is the best. So that warmed my heart. The initial
I am
thought
glad Denny made it on the road trip.
Me too.
To have that opportunity.
Me too. And I want Denny
yeah.
calling postseason baseball. He's been with the team since day one of the organization. The second one was Jason Lockenfor, who once got hung up by this station.
Yep.
By the afternoon show in the middle of a different Orioles series when he was saying the Royals were frauds as they were continuing their postseason run. Yesterday on Twitter, he had to send out, I'm sure, a tweet that hurt him that said, they screwed up the number one pick and it's not even close. Because he's watching Bobby Witt Jr. come through with the big hit versus Adley Rutschman, who was the number one selection in the MLB draft the year Bobby Witt Jr. went second to the Royals. Thank God.
Well, then also just the whole year-long comparison.
Him where it felt good.
The year-long comparison. Gunnar Henderson's an incredible baseball player.
But he's not Bobby Witt Jr.
Remember that earlier on the All-Star break, or All-Star voting, I'm sorry, we were discussing Gunnar Henderson, who ultimately started over Bobby Witt Jr., and we thought that was ridiculous. Our guy Vern's going to join us at 12:30. We went back and forth with Vern around that time of the year.
We're like, how dare you do this to Bobby?
I think he voted for Gunnar Henderson.
And then Bobby hit 400 the following month.
That did change things a little bit. That definitely did change some things. But, man, oh, man, it was just cool. You're right. There was a lot of things that brought back good memories yesterday, whether it was being at a watch party, whether, even just seeing weird tweets from people.
The amount of people who text you or you text with.
I even saw
that you don't normally text with. That just happens all the time.
My favorite thing, too, as I said, was the jokes that people had because Kansas City just dominates in sports right now. And it's like, well, I guess the umps in Major League Baseball just want the Royals to win too,
He said that about the Royals?
Yeah. I was like, that was the joke. That was the joke. That people. I'm like, that's great. That's where we're at, man. Royals, Chiefs, just keep on winning, man. Center of sports right here.
I mean, I will say, if I lived in Baltimore, I would hate the city of Kansas City with every fiber of my being. For the last 10 years, every time Baltimore has what appears to be a World Series caliber team or a Super Bowl caliber team, Kansas City as a city has been the kid when you've got when you put your when you're little kids and you'd fight and you put your knees on their biceps and then you tell them to quit hitting themselves as you'd hit them with their own hand, or you tell them to calm down. I mean, it's that level of picking on the city.
Well, look at the last
Kansas City's
calendar
been
year.
kicking Baltimore's ass for a decade.
And this last
and I
year,
imagine they'd be very tired of it.
The last calendar year in particular.
Yeah.
AFC title game, and then, of course, right now in the wild card series. The Royals in the O's a little bit later on this afternoon. As I mentioned, Vern's going to join us around 12:30 today on the show. We will also talk a little NFL with Ross Tucker during the Chiefs Red Half Hour at 11:30 today. We'll get right back to the Royals, I promise, here in about 10 minutes. I do want to briefly talk Chiefs only because we saw some news in the AFC West yesterday that Devontae Adams
in the AFC West.
wants out of Las Vegas. Who could blame him? The Raiders are willing to trade him. They should be willing to do so. And so with that, there's been a lot of speculation among other teams who's interested. The latest reporting suggests the Jets and the Saints would be the likely
so the two last quarterbacks he caught passes from?
Yes.
Derek Carr
the preferred destination of Devontae Adams would be those two places. I think the Commanders are in a really intriguing spot with Jaden Daniels and up-and-coming quarterback, and that division is right there. The Commanders currently lead the NFC East, so that's a team to watch. And then, of course, Kansas City. Naturally, with the wide receiver issue right now with Rashee Rice injury, Devontae Adams and Kansas City come up. I just don't see it, and I'll get to the latest reporting on it in a second. But even prior to that, one, I don't believe the Raiders' Mark Davis is trading Devontae Adams to the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, let's just start there. I don't believe that.
I mean, if you're the Raiders and they offer you the best pick, you should. I'm sorry.
Not a player like that, though. I'm not anti-divisional trade if you think it betters your long-term future. I don't think you can – a team that's going for a three-peat, a team that has just owned you, a team that just won a Super Bowl in your building and pop champagne in your locker room, I don't think you can trade your best players, maybe second-best player on the team, to your division rival. Then there's the financial end and why ultimately I think the Chiefs are not in the mix here. Devontae Adams' cap hit is $25 million this year,
Although it's less to acquire, quite a bit less.
Sure, but then, now there's a potential out. You either would have to cut him and eat 15.7, or, let me check that number again, $44 million in 2025.
There's things called
$44 million in
restructures.
2026 for a guy that'll be 33 next year. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much.
The only problem with not kicking the tires on it, right? The Saints and the Jets have both pretty much publicly confirmed the same thing. We're not in a hurry. There's a lot of time left in the football season. We'll do our due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of teams more desperate than the Chiefs. We know that, right? The Bills, the Saints, the Jets, all these teams, like Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old. They desperately need to try to find some way to create enough magic this season to make a postseason run and pray like heaven they get the final years of Peyton Manning in there. But more than the last 2 years, the Chiefs are also desperate. They're desperate because they don't have any wide receivers left. Rasheed Rice is hurt. Hollywood Brown is hurt. Isaiah Pacheco, there seems to be, like, now people are claiming maybe there's ligament. Who knows? I mean, but, like, maybe his injury is a little bit longer than we thought, so we'll see. So they're desperate because they need a wide receiver, and because I do think they want to be the only team in NFL history to actually complete this three-peat. I would tell the Chiefs that they're in a weird fine line, which is if you sell your soul for the three-peat, if you could guarantee it for me, I would do it. I'd sell my soul. I'd sell the next couple of years of cap where things looked uglier and it was harder and you don't win championships for the three-peat. But because you can't be guaranteed that selling your soul's going to get it for you, you have to tread very carefully. Because they've been also spending their time trying to set themselves up for the next 2 or 3 years. They're in pretty good cap spot each of the next couple of years because they want to continue to pay guys like George Karlaftis and Trent McDuffie and upgrade offensive weapons. And if you pay Devontae Adams, that gets a lot tougher.
And they already paid Chris Jones. I mean, there are consequences to making these other moves, too.
Yeah.
And they've always been about extending this window, and they didn't become a dynasty because they made bad decisions by mortgaging the future and giving up, reportedly maybe requires a second-round draft pick plus paying money to get Devontae Adams. So I fully expect him to be on the Jets in the future. I think the Commanders, as I said, are interesting. Adam Schefter's latest reporting on this, I'll just read you the tweet. He said, while the Jets and Saints' interest in Adams, there are other teams that remain interested. Despite any speculation, the team not expected to be an option is Kansas City, per sources.
So Diana Rossini came out with a tweet about an hour ago that said Devontae Adams is owed $13.5 million for the rest of the year. It drops by $970,000 a week, if I remember right. It's $4 million in cap space the Chiefs currently have, right?
Bonus, yeah.
So if there's 5 weeks to the trade deadline, it's like $4.8 million that drops off of that $13.5 million. So they still wouldn't even have the space, even if they waited all the way until the deadline to make the deal.
I just think that you should be thinking not caviar budget. I still think people are going to be maybe shockingly disappointed in the wide receiver that because we did this last year, and who was the wide receiver they added, Gold? McCall Hardman. Okay, a guy who wasn't even playing for the Jets. It's going to be the top level of player I think they trade for at wide receiver at this point is Darius Slayton. I think that is like the maximum level. Maybe Amari Cooper I'd leave in the list.
Deontay Johnson's
because he's owed nothing.
Deontay Johnson has no years left on his contract. Adam Thielen has no years left on his contract. Compensation's not going to be as crazy. Those, to me, are more realistic options in a couple of weeks. Amari Cooper is who I would prefer out of everybody. I don't know how realistic that is. DeAndre Hopkins, same boat. Devontae Adams, Drew, you're on the financials for this year. I still think they actually could maneuver things to make it work. The issue for me is the age and what I'm due next year.
Yeah.
And the year after that.
The future pay actually hurts
$44 million cap hits.
44, that's nuts.
According to Spot Track, yeah, $44
And the
million.
acquiring team would be on the hook. This is the other problem. They might have a harder time trading than you think. The other part is, though, they say they want a second-round pick. Gold, they're never getting that. They can say that all they want. This happens all the time. The Chiefs reportedly want
They'll get a
conditional
third or fourth.
I think it'll be a fifth. Like, you cannot convince a team to take a $15 million dead cap hit at best. That's the best-case scenario for Devontae Adams next year. Not unless he's signing an extension, reworking that cap number, doing all this other stuff. Because if he's not doing that, what the hell would I give a second-round pick and I got to pay the man $15 million just to go away next year? No.
How much do you guys think it would take to get Deontay Johnson? Like, what would it take to get him?
Yeah, his is probably a
4th.
fifth round. What did the Steelers just get for him this past offseason, guys? We can just look at that and that was not even a mid-season trade. That was an off-season trade where, remember, everybody was like, man, the Panthers got him for like a 6th or 7th round pick, if I'm not mistaken, this offseason.
Oh, maybe lower than I was thinking.
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize. Now you're gonna make me look it up.
The reason I'm asking is because they have that 3rd round. I mean, they technically could go even better if they can land somebody like maybe Amari Cooper. I don't know what it takes to get him, but they still have that. They got the 3rd and the 7th for that L'Jarius Sneed trade that they have extra for this upcoming draft that they potentially could use if they want to use it. I don't know if that 7th could maybe get Deontay Johnson.
It was a 7th round pick swap.
Oh yeah, they might as well use
a
the 7th.
7th for a 6th.
And he's
They
not
give
making,
you,
not making any money. He's not making any money either.
That
That's a
makes
realistic
sense.
option. The problem is he will also be a popular option, but because other teams will like it for the same reason the Chiefs do.
Sure.
So they'll have to maneuver there a little bit. 913-586-7965. Someone from the 816 says, "Hey, what about Keenan Allen?" I'll be honest, I'm not interested because the issue why we're discussing this is what? Injuries to the wide receiver room. Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice. What do you think of when I say Keenan Allen other than the Chargers? Now he's on the Bears, but the Chargers. I think of a guy that never stayed healthy.
He
a
hasn't
guy
even
that
stayed
always,
healthy for the Bears.
So, well, yeah, he's hurt right now. So, no, I'm not interested in Keenan Allen for 32-year-old that has struggled to stay healthy and on the season has 7 catches for 48 yards.
Yeah, I just don't think that this is a realistic one. I guess the same argument applies. Like, I guess I hope he doesn't go to an AFC contender. But do you think that I'm going to be like, well, the Chiefs can't beat the Jets now that they got Devontae Adams? I think I'll be fine. Their coach was actively blaming the rain for their lack of offense the other day. And just as a reminder, when you play football, both teams play in the rain. Turns out, both teams do. I don't know if you knew that, Gold. One team does not actively play in sunshine and rainbows, and the other one plays in rain. They both have the same rain. And then they were out here having to answer questions about cadences. Like, that apparently his are too complicated or something. They got dumb problems, man. Bad team problems, not good team problems. They can have Devontae Adams all they want. I don't care.
That'll be a fun name to watch, though, over the next couple of weeks, just as an NFL fan. I don't think
so.
Kansas City's a player at all, as we said.
Agreed.
But where does he end up, and does it shift anything? And what other players are available? I've said it a few times in the last day or so, but we always talk about a bunch of receivers being available, and I do think he'll get traded. Devontae will, because he wants out. They're willing to move him. But we always act like all these receivers are getting moved. We always hype up trade deadline because the NFL's king, and talking transactional stuff in the NFL is fun. It's speculative. It's great. That's why the NFL is so good. But it's not like it's the NBA trade deadline. It never is. It just isn't. We never see the same activity. This year, maybe we'll all convince ourselves.
We'll see a little bit later in the year, maybe.
A few days before, with the trade deadline getting pushed back, maybe that helps, and I think that's why they pushed it back. Teams know if they're in it more at that point in time. So we'll see, I think, somebody like Devontae Adams traded. I think we'll see Deontay Johnson gets traded. But there'll be somebody we think is getting traded that just doesn't, because it happens every single year.
I wonder if, as the league moves on, if it'll be more like Major League Baseball. Like, people forget now, the Detroit Tigers didn't trade Tarek Skubal, and thank Christ they didn't for their own sake. They traded away other players. The Tigers half-assed the trade deadline. They didn't trade their biggest star, but they did. They were sellers more than they were buyers at the deadline.
And young players stepped up.
Some of these NFL teams might be served to try something similar, right? Maybe you don't trade, not in this case, Devontae Adams will be, like if you're in the mix. Maybe you don't trade your star player because you're stuck in no man's land and you're 3-6, right? If you're the Cincinnati Bengals, maybe you don't trade Trey Hendrickson, but you do trade T. Higgins. And you rely on Yoshevas and some of the other young guys to take over those roles instead because you're stuck in no man's land. So you get yourself some draft pick compensation in case this goes south. But if we start playing well, we don't sell the whole farm so that we just have no other option today. I know we were excited to watch Royals playoff baseball yesterday and again today. Right here on 96.5 The Fan. You can obviously come join us at Jefferson's in Lenexa.
Somebody on the text line wanted to know if we were going to. They said, is the restaurant ready for lunch service? Well, they open up here in like 5 minutes. Someone says,
I'd say so.
Can you bartend for us while we do the show? Not while we do the show, but maybe at a future day we'll have to guest.
If Nick will let me behind the bar, I'll pour one beer for someone today.
We got a thumbs up.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'll pour a couple of beers today, or maybe I'll pour some of those shots, right?
Rally shots.
Rally shots.
We had one of those blue.
Vinny hits a home run today. I'll get 10. I'll pay for 10 rally shots, and I will actively get him behind the bar. I'll do the
If he has
work.
all
You
runs
did
here.
say that you guys
And I'll
had
leave the
one-
tip for the service staff.
You said you guys would have one ready. I did not have one yesterday.
Is that
when
why
I
you
showed
left
up.
early?
No.
Yeah, where'd you
what
go,
happened?
Drew?
You missed the best part. You left in the 4th inning. You had wings. You took some wings to go.
I left
you
at the
went
end
home.
of the 6th inning. I
Sixth
left at the
inning.
end of the 6th.
Even worse. Even worse. You left at the end of the 6th. You missed the best part. We were having a great time. Are you staying? Are you committing to the whole game today?
Yeah, I think I will be there today, and I will watch the whole game. That is the plan.
Were you just what happened? Life, or just you were not enjoying the Royals? You gotta at least be on the Royals bandwagon. If we can't get you on the Chiefs bandwagon, you gotta get on the Royals bandwagon.
I think wife was ready to go home.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Putting it on your wife. Bold. Bold
No,
decision, Drew. Bold. You should have taken that bullet. That's all I'm saying. You should have been like, you know what? I was spent. Long day,
I will
playoff
say,
time.
I was also tired as well. I was ready to go home and take a nap.
Those games moving fast.
Look, I followed the game. I listened to it on the way home. I watched the end of it at home while I was laying down on the couch. I watched it.
Little relaxation.
I was
the energy.
disappointed. I was really disappointed.
And I wasn't even here, so you can't listen to me. I had family stuff to attend to. Life gets in the way sometimes. I had to watch the end of the game at home as well, but I'll be here for the entire time as well here at Jefferson's in Lenexa. Gold, tell them those specials one more time.
$1 rally shots, $3 Royal Blue refreshers. We had one or two of those yesterday. Also, we split a couple of those $12 Miller and Coors buckets. I was told that they went through quite a few of those
Had to go get some more.
Coors Lights yesterday. Quite a few of the old Coors Lights yesterday. So hopefully that is the case again today. Coming up next, though, we continue broadcasting here from Jefferson's in Lenexa. So what is actually on the line for the Royals today? And I do want to talk about something that maybe we didn't compare enough, and that was the two managers heading into this series. It stood out yesterday. That's next here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Fall in the Midwest is pleasant. The air is crisp, the temperatures are mild, and all is right with the world. But every one of you knows that lurking around the corner is creepy old man Winter. He wants to come into your home, put his feet up on the couch, and take over the remote. That's why you need to replace your drafty old windows with triple glass replacement windows from Thermo King. Triple glass? But weren't you told that double glass windows were all you'd ever need? Think again. Triple glass windows offer double the insulating barriers against creepy old man Winter than double glass windows. And their super strong frames are guaranteed to never twist, warp, fade, or fail. And right now, Thermo King is selling their triple glass windows for the same price as double glass. Who would do such a thing? Thermo King, that's who. So don't let this beautiful weather fool you. Protect your home from creepy old man Winter and call Thermo King today. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings located off 105th in Metcalf and Overland Park Friday, October 4th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
NFL Week 5 is here, and you can kick off the week right with your chance for a big win over at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. If you're new to FanDuel, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet, and we got a great one. We got a divisional matchup between the Bucs and the Falcons. You know what? I'm going to take the Buccaneers to go on the road and win outright. I'm going to take the over on passing yards from Baker Mayfield. I'm also going to take an anytime touchdown from Mike Evans. You can make that same game parlay or create your own. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code to make every moment more this season. Don't miss a second of the action. Check out FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets, but expires 7 days after free. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help us your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit KSGamblingHelp.com.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health.
It seems like everything we hear these days is about political races, and yet there's a far more important race that you run for yourself every day. It's the race to be the best that you can be. But if your libido is low, if your workouts aren't productive, if you've got brain fog and you're tired all the time, you may feel like you're losing that race, and maybe even that your best days are behind you. But the truth is that they're likely not, because if you're feeling like this, it's probable you're simply suffering from low testosterone, a condition that affects a huge percentage of men as we age. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating low T. We've successfully treated thousands of men for the condition, and if you're like most guys, you'll start seeing results in just a few weeks. Better sleep patterns, higher energy, improved mental clarity, more productive workouts, and your libido will likely increase as well. So get back to winning your race by calling us. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Are you in need of top quality metal for your next project? Look no further than Metal by the Foot. Whether you're a DIY enthusiast, contractor, or business owner, Metal by the Foot has the perfect solution for you. Steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless. The Foot. Blue Demon Welding Supplies, filler rods, and wire. The Foot. Cronius Professional Welding Equipment, service and repairs. The Foot. Located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
COVID-19 cases are on the rise, and peak flu season is almost here. Save time and get the updated COVID-19 vaccine and your flu shot at the same time at Hy-Vee. Schedule your updated COVID-19 vaccine and flu shot online today, or just stop by any Hy-Vee pharmacy whenever it's convenient for you. No appointment necessary. Plus, when you get your flu shot at Hy-Vee, earn a 20-cent fuel saver. Your Hy-Vee pharmacy is here to help you and your family stay healthy. Some restrictions apply.
It's time to review the top 3 highlights of the day. I'm joined as always by my co-anchor Snoop.
Hey, what up, though?
Snoop, number 1 has to be getting the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence at T-Mobile.
Yeah, you should hustle down to T-Mobile like a dog chasing a squirrel, chasing a nut.
Nice analogy, Snoop. Dogs do love to chase squirrels.
And squirrels love to chase those nuts.
On to highlight number 2. At T-Mobile, families can save 20% every month versus the other big guys.
That is very impressive. You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
That's exactly what I'm planning on doing with my savings, Snoop. Now, take it away, Snoop.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on them. Now drop that jingle.
24 monthly bill credits. Eligible trade-in on Go 5G Next. Well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits, and credit stop and balance on required finance agreement too. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Our Labor Day savings start now at Lowe's. Right now, buy one, get one free on Valspar Reserve or HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Infinity or Showcase Interior Paint via Lowe's gift card rebate. Whether you're painting one accent wall or want to freshen up a whole room, we've got you covered. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details. Valid through 9/4.
Save on O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner. Get 2 cans of O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner for just $8. Valid in-store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This afternoon, expect sunny skies with a high of 77.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
Vern's On Deck show starts at 2. First pitch just after 3:30. All right here on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. KFNZ FM and AM. HD1 and HD2 Kansas City. An Odyssey sports station.
It's unbelievable. This team that we have here is special, and just getting one done, but we're not done yet. We got to keep grinding, keep putting together these wins. It's just how tightly wounded we are. We're a very special group. We're always hanging out both on and off the field. We love each and one and everyone in here, and it's just it's a family. We're trying to get run on the board because we know we had Cole Reagins on the mound, and our bullpen's been doing a great job, so we're just trying to scratch one, take things one pitch at a time. Let's go Royals.
Bobby Witt Jr. delivered in the big moment yesterday. The one run,
the only run
off of his bat, and the Royals get the 1-0 win against the Orioles. Coming up a little bit later on today, of course, Fern's On Deck show at 2 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan. We're broadcasting live from Jefferson's in Lenexa, hanging out throughout the rest of the day. I think yesterday, that game got over at 6:15, something like that.
Something like that. It might not even been that late. It might have been
6 o'clock.
Before 6, yeah.
Maybe 6 o'clock or so. So if you're getting off work maybe a little early, maybe you're fortunate enough to have the Wednesday off, whatever it may be, stop on by, hang out with us. Looking forward to another fun watch party and hopefully a little party after the game as well to start eyeing the New York Yankees if the Royals can accomplish the win today.
I hate the Yankees. I love hating the Yankees even more.
Oh, my goodness.
It's they're more fun to beat than any other team.
Of course.
All their nonsensical trophies in like the 20s and 30s. They haven't won a World Series in 10 years, 15 years. Royals have won a World Series more recently.
Oh, there's a few. I'll be honest. There's a few bookmark tweets that I have from early in the year when the Royals looked bad against
when
the
they
Yankees.
got like curb stomps.
Multiple people saying the AL Central stinks. The Royals are garbage. And let's wait till the Bronx.
You bookmark some?
Oh,
you're ready to be petty?
Oh, on that one I do. There's a lot of baseball to be played for me to be able to actually acknowledge those. But
they got to win today first, but then we'll get there.
And then obviously beat the Yankees. But what's on the line today? A chance to wrap up the series, a chance to advance, to not have a ton of pressure-packed Game 3 action on Thursday. You can set up your rotation. All of that is true. Yesterday, though, when we were going through this series, we said, all right, on paper, offense, the Orioles have the edge. Yesterday, of course, they didn't, but they did.
For the series, we thought the starting pitching edge was the Royals, but that game it was a wash.
Yep. For the bullpen, we said was pretty even. I think the Royals actually have the advantage.
I agree.
We didn't talk enough about the managers. Now, we mentioned the concern that some Royals fans had for Matt Quatrero, when it comes to managing the pitching staff and pulling a player too early, just because of the time in Tampa when he was the bench coach with the whole Blake Snell situation in the World Series. Yesterday, we found out like 30 seconds later that it was because of a cramp. Cole Reagins was pulled. I think some people were starting to get nervous. But then it was Brandon Hyde, the manager of the Orioles,
did a poor job,
who actually mismanaged. And I know, sometimes hindsight's 20/20, right? And so all of a sudden it looks like a great move just like that, or it doesn't. But the advantage yesterday was the decisions made from Matt Quatrero. Brandon Hyde leaving it up to Corbin Burns. Okay, that's not that unusual, but leaving it up to Corbin Burns, maybe you got to step in there. You think Corbin Burns is going to walk away from a showdown with Bobby Witt Jr.?
Do you know any player who would say,
no,
I want to walk this guy and I'll get the other guy?
So they should have walked Bobby Witt Jr. Instead, they didn't. Of course, Bobby comes with a hit. Then you alluded to Ryan O'Hearn. We were giving you a hard time because he blocks you on social, and if he would have come up with a hit, our boss even said you're not allowed on the show today.
I was going to be banned from the show today if Ryan O'Hearn won it for them.
You were going to be banned from the show today.
Most nervous I was the entire game was when Ryan O'Hearn stepped
So he gets on base because of a walk, but I guess this is partially on their manager, Brandon Hyde, but also I guess organizationally.
He's part of the decision.
They don't have a pinch runner?
Nope.
That was bizarre, too. So there were a couple mistakes to the Royals' benefit that I thought the Orioles made yesterday. We'll see what happens later on this afternoon.
No, I thought that there was a decided managerial mismatch, at least in this game. It's hard in baseball because over 162 games, I don't think the manager makes this big swing in the wins or the losses. I think it's 90%. The players that you have eligible on the field, 95%. The players you have eligible on the field. But in a playoff game, those decisions matter. If you point at the wrong person whose day it's not, either from a pitching, you forget to pinch run somebody, you call for a steal and they get caught and it costs you the game, those matter. Hyde was 0 for 4 yesterday. He should have not pitched to Bobby Witt Jr. He should have had a pinch runner available. He essentially made every wrong decision. Meanwhile, I thought not only the lineup, lineup fine, they didn't get a lot of hits. What are you going to do?
5 hits.
But they ejected early on Chris Bubic. They didn't let Chris Bubic hang himself. They said, screw it, Bubic. You got 2 outs. You let 2 guys on. It's Urseg's time. We're good now.
There was a lot of people that thought they should even put in Urseg one batter earlier.
But all the buttons pressed.
Yeah. Well, when it works, it looks. When it works, you look like a genius.
Sure.
We know how this is.
Sure.
Right?
Look, and I didn't think necessarily maybe pinch hitting Ryan O'Hearn. That didn't fail right. Guy got on base, took a walk for you, threatened a little bit, and maybe you can feel good about yourself. But for the most part, his decisions worked and the other guys didn't. But some of them were just, I thought, coaching malpractice. I do not think you can throw to Bobby Wood Jr. in that scenario.
Brandon Hyde did speak to the media, of course, after the game. Here was his explanation. He was asked about that very sequence. Why did you pitch to Bobby Wood Jr.?
I'm letting Corbin Burns, the way he's throwing the baseball right there, determine who he wants to go get.
Pretty simple answer. And honestly, it's not like the worst managerial decision we've seen.
To trust your star pitcher to get an out?
No. It didn't work. You know, I mean, I was stunned. We were all sitting here. I was Rob and Carrington in particular. We were like, oh, they're not going to pitch to him, right? And we're like, everybody was kind of stunned that they were willing to do that.
Same.
Especially when Vinnie hadn't hit in a month, you know? And look, hindsight is 20/20, so Bobby, they could have walked him, and then Vinnie would have been a playoff moment. Vinnie could have come up with a big hit, and everybody would have said, oh, you know, you shouldn't have done that either, and he made you pay. I don't know. When you press the button, you're right. It doesn't matter what button you press, but if it works, everybody says you're
But if
genius.
it's Eflin tonight, and it's the 5th inning, and it's 0-0, and you can walk Bobby to get to Vinnie, he's walking him, right? He's not going to do that again, right? He's not going to pitch to Bobby again, right?
No, because of yesterday, but also Eflin's not as good of a pitcher as Corbin Burns.
Sure.
So I think that's also why it's a little bit different.
But in this case, he's pitching as good as Corbin. I'm setting the same scenario. He's dominating.
I would just trust
it's 0-0. Yeah, that's fair.
Tonight is also a spot where the Royals, we all know, have a chance to eliminate the Orioles. So how Brandon Hyde and how Q manage different spots here.
Yeah,
if the Royals haven't, they're going to do whatever they can to win the game. But there also is a little bit different vibe later in the game if it's a 3-0 lead for the Royals and how the Orioles manage versus the Royals versus if it's a 1-0 game. I think there's a different approach to it, knowing that you might need another day versus you don't have another day. You know, if you're up 3-0, if you're the Royals, well then you're in. Like, if you're up 3-0 in the 8th inning, your Urseg's back out there. It doesn't matter how many innings. Like you're getting it done today, kind of thing. Versus if it's a 1-0 game, I wonder if. And you're down, obviously you're going to approach your bullpen a little bit differently, knowing that you got to maybe have a game tomorrow.
Like if you're the Royals and you're down 1-0 or 2-0, no, you're probably not throwing Long, Bubic, and Urseg. You will take that risk tomorrow when you're in that situation. Now, obviously, in a perfect world, there's win today, use up, and it doesn't even matter. They use their bullpen. Who cares? You're off Thursday and Friday. Everyone would be back and healthy. You can unload if you were up 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, 4-2. Doesn't matter. You can use your whole bullpen today if you want. You know, on the flip side, it's always easy to just be like, well, they shouldn't have thrown to Bobby Wood Jr. In his very first – so Cole Reagins, who we'll talk about again in just a minute, but Cole Reagins, who dominated, obviously, for the Royals, in his very first ever postseason start, the biggest game of his entire life, Bobby Wood Jr. in the first ever playoff game for him, the biggest game of his life, he came through, man.
He did.
In the biggest moment against Corbin Burns, who was absolutely dealing, he found a way to get home Michael Garcia. To that point, by the way, I had said this maybe in like May, and then I had started to waver on it, I'll be honest, in like mid-September, where I was like, I'm not sure he's doing anything well enough that really like makes sense or like where you play him and how you use him. Kudos to Michael Garcia, too. He was bad the last 2 months of the season. And in the moment when they need him, he found some way to help the damn team.
He did.
He got on base. He's swiping bags. He's doing stuff. He's putting himself in a position to help this team win. He's maybe just a playoff guy like his cousin, Alcides Escobar. But like between him, Witt, and Michael, those were guys early in the season that were coming through for you that are now coming through you now. I was impressed by Witt. And not just because of the funny stat that is he has more playoff wins than Shohei Ohtani or Mike Trout.
Yeah, the Ohtani one will end here pretty soon, potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially, hopefully.
Dude, come
not.
on. The Dodgers are getting swept.
Well, I'm just saying what the Royals keep winning.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was alluding to more. I was alluding more to like, hey, maybe they both have the same amount by the time.
Got it.
But yes, the Mike Trout one is pretty stunning. Honestly, kind of sad knowing the type of player that he had been, but the guy just couldn't stay healthy. And then when he was the Angels, of course, ran into the Royals and got swept back in 2014. So
I think what Cody Decker said about Bobby Wood Jr. is going to absolutely be true if this run continues. If he is the guy who keeps coming up with he's the guy who came up with the big RBI yesterday. If he continues to be in Royals wins and they proceed through the playoffs, they get to an ALCS, they get to a World Series, whatever, and he keeps being the guy who comes through with the big hits, well, then people will finally be able to talk about Bobby Wood Jr. the way they used to talk about Mike Trout. Because Bobby doesn't get that level of attention yet. But he is doing, to be very clear, Mike Trout things. He is playing the most important position on the diamond. He's hitting .330 with 30 homers. He steals bases. He's playing Gold Glove caliber, Silver Slugger caliber shortstop. He is the second best player in the sport besides Shohei Ohtani. And so he's doing things that Mike Trout was doing from an athleticism standpoint, too. If he starts, in addition to that, winning playoff games, that's going to be the whole story on Bobby. Look at this kid. He's 24 years old, and look at what he's doing. 24, is that right? I think that's what his age is.
So that goes back to the MVP conversation that we had yesterday. I mean, it already sets the stage for next year if he's going to have a little bit of a playoff run and has any more moments like he did yesterday. That because of that national narrative and those that vote on these awards and the household name stuff, that'll put you already in a better position to win an award like the MVP. It's why, I mean, we all think he's going to win one eventually. Any other year, he would have won it this year, would win it this year. It's going to end up being Aaron Judge.
90%, 80, 89%, whatever, a huge percentage.
So basically, you have the, I think, thought of the future results that can happen for Bobby Wood Jr. in the postseason, impacting ultimately the rest of his career. So we said this yesterday. Multiple guys' legacy-changing moments that can occur.
Yeah, and I think he's kind of started that. Again, there was only one hit to be had yesterday for the Royals, honestly, right? Was there another run on the board I didn't see? Maybe Salvador Perez's deep fly ball that I think I saw would have been a homer in like 13 of 30 Major League Parks, so like, I don't know, half, right? It's a homer versus the one for the Orioles. Woo! Woo! Thank God they moved that fence back, huh? Well, that really worked out for KC. Did you see that one would have been a home run in 27 or 28 parks, Gold?
I didn't see that.
27 parks, I think is what it was. That would have been a home run in for Baltimore. And you're like, who think? And then, like, it was like a year ago they moved that part of 2 years ago. They moved that part of the fence back, and you're like, thanks, I guess. Look, that's your own doing. That's one of the funny things about baseball is, and it frustrates me sometimes more when it's just like it's so homer friendly, it's ridiculous. But baseball lets you build your stadium the size you want, just as long as you're 60 feet 6 inches from home plate from the rubber, and you are 90 feet around the base paths. They'll let you do anything. Your stadium, you can have 20,000 feet of foul territory. You can have a tall-ass fence. They'll let you do whatever you want. And yesterday's game just kind of plays into that, right, where a baseball game and where you play it also factors into how the game is played. That's why I want a game at Kauffman so bad. Plus, I don't know, I mean, how many years of Kauffman got left? I want to see a few more playoff games there. Did I bum everybody out? Is that a bummer that there's Kauffman's coming to a close? We know that's true.
We know that's true, but the hope is with what they have built with this team.
We'll get 5 years with the playoff games.
The talk of consistency and whether or not this is just something that we start to get used to, that it's not just a once every 5, once every 9 year type of thing, that you can have multiple years in a row where you have playoff appearances as well. Someone on the text line from the 816 over on the Jays Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965, said didn't get out to Jefferson's yesterday, but may leave work early today to join. So it wasn't there yesterday. Am I jinxing this result today if I show up? No. I just think if you were already here yesterday, you got to sit, and you do show back up, you got to sit in like the same spot that you did, you know? But if you didn't make it out here, no. Where were you watching the game before?
It's a good question. Maybe at their desk.
I was going to say, if they were at work, then yeah.
If you're at work, then you come here. If you were at a different establishment, then I don't know.
There were people with laptops at Jefferson's.
Oh, people were working.
That were working.
People were working.
Yes.
With their laptops. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, look, everybody knows what. Do you remember like the productivity studies of the last time the Royals were in the postseason? Honest to God, if you're a boss, right? You run a company, you run a small business, you run a team. I'm going to help you out here. Just let him off of work early. I had a friend yesterday who said his boss let him off of work. He's like, hey, at 3 you can be done, because he knows the quality of the work he is going to get after 3 o'clock. Meaningless, useless work. Gold. If you're working from this bar from 3:30 to 5, what's the quality of the work you're turning in? You're going to make 92 mistakes watching Cole Reagins work. Don't do this to yourself. If you can, let them go. Let them out. Tell them to get out. Tell them to stop doing work. Don't track their mouse for a few hours. Whatever the hell you need to do to just get through the rest of the day.
I know somebody that
just let it go.
I know somebody that yesterday they took like 2 or 3. They took 3 hours of PTO at the end of the day, and I guess their boss said, like, "Oh, do you for the next 2 days?" This was yesterday, and like, "Oh, do you have doctor's appointments the next?" Yeah, for the next 2 days I do. From 2 to like 5 o'clock.
Just exactly
just from 2 to 5 o'clock. How do you? I mean, I guess some people, if you're just not into sports,
Doctor was wide open that day. I didn't think about
but
why.
But 2 days in a row.
Oh, wide open. You know, what are you going to do?
2 days in a row from 2 to 5. I just need PTO for those 3 hours each day.
Just
only time that could work.
They're at work listening to their earbuds. They work in HR at a lab. Their boss has already told me I can come today if I want. Well, then, all right, we'll see you here.
Well, then, yeah.
We'll see you here.
I mean, that's a fairly easy decision, I think, on your part.
Someone else, they started at 5:30 this morning so that they can leave at 2:30. Smart. Get in an hour or two early.
See, that is smart.
That's the way to do it.
Work at that. You know what? I appreciate if you've got that kind of flexibility in your job, hell yeah. That makes all the sense in the world. Now, I'll say, we mentioned it briefly, so we should talk about him again at the beginning of the show. Cole Reagins, dear God, man. He was a dominant force in this game. Look, I've always known, since we've watched Cole Reagins come up with the Royals, I've known he's good. Right? I mean, it's not like a surprise. That's not like big news. Oh, Cole Reagins is good at pitching. But, you know, at this I felt it looked harder for him sometimes this year than it did last year, and he was going through that balancing act.
The start of the season.
Yeah, well, in that balancing act of Major League Baseball, Gold, that is like, they know you, you know them, first full year as a starter, first full workload, right, more innings than you've ever pitched, all these things that just kind of stack on. And then you're getting your very first ever playoff game, and it's on the road, and the guy next to you is dealing. When all those things kind of work against you, I don't know that I thought, I wasn't 100% sure Cole Reagins was just going to deal right alongside, and that's what he did. He was better than Corbin Burns because they both pitched great, and one guy didn't give up a run. He wasn't significantly better. It wasn't like night and day, but he outdueled one of the best pitchers in baseball over the last 5 years and was utterly dominant doing it.
Well, and he worked out of some trouble, too. Very rare that he got into any trouble, but that leadoff double in the third inning in particular, you're like, okay, here we go. But no, he was able to get out of that, and then there was a mistake in the field, in left field.
MJ Melendez blew it.
They just completely misjudged the baseball, my goodness. But that gave the O's first and third, one out. That was the biggest spot in the game, honestly. At that point, you were wondering if this was going to be the inning that all of a sudden put 2-3 runs on the board, which seems like it's too much right now for the Royals offense. But it feels that way for the O's too. Like if the Royals get 2 or 3 runs in this game, it feels like that's enough. Whoever, if anybody gets to 3 runs today, I feel like that team's winning with the way the pitching is. Certainly if you're the O's, because you're going up against Lugo. We'll see what the Orioles have. Their starter's not bad by any means, but he's not Corbin Burns. He's not Seth Lugo. He's not Michael Wacha.
No, and he's not, and that goes back to the whole thing. They probably were going to start someone below Eflin in this game had they won the game because they were trying to line up their rotation.
They have to win. Yeah.
Royals knew what they were going to do. They knew what they were going to do the whole time. These were the 3 guys. Hopefully we don't need all 3, but if we do, that's the case. You ever just go back and just, remember fondly that trade? They got Cole Reagins for a half a year of Aroldis Chapman. A couple of months, dude. 2 months, 60 days. 60 days of Aroldis Chapman, and they got Cole Reagins. And look, I'm sure the Rangers are
they won the World Series,
we don't care. Yeah, I'm sure the Rangers are like, we don't care. I think they probably would have won the series without Chapman, but they're probably telling themselves, we don't care. I do, because the Royals sure as hell weren't winning the World Series that year with Aroldis Chapman, and they're in the playoffs and winning important games with Cole Reagins. So fine by me. We can call it a win on both sides.
He has firmly cemented himself as an ace in this league. There's not many of them in baseball.
No,
we talk about opening day starters. Doesn't mean you're an ace by any means, but he's that. And I think the playoff performance yesterday solidified that because we hadn't seen him in that spot. And you do wonder. You asked Cody Decker earlier. You do wonder, do you just have it as a player where these special moments, these big moments, you were able to meet that moment? And the answer was yes for Cole Reagins. The answer was yes for Bobby Wood Jr. I hope the answer is yes for Seth Lugo today. We know it's a yes for Salvador Perez. He's done it in his career. There's some other guys we still don't know yet. Urseg showed that he can match the moment. That is playoff baseball. Bubic matched the moment.
Yep.
Sam Long, give him credit. Matched the moment.
His inning was cleaner than Chris Bubic.
That was a quick inning.
Yeah, he did. He barely had to. Because we were all still reeling from because I don't even think the news had come out yet. Oh my God, they pulled Reagins. What are you doing? We're all wondering that. Turns out it was a cramp. But what's going on? And then before I could even really complain, Sam Long had 2 outs, and I was like, okay, well, guess I'll just let that one go. And then Reagins is out for the cramp. You're like, okay, well then we're really okay. They were always going to throw Long there.
All right, real quick, let's get to a trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
I'll make this quick, and then we're going to get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. We've got Ross Tucker, our Odyssey NFL insider, joining us. This one is just bizarre. This could have ended way worse. This is a story from Idaho, where there's a gentleman that is known for breaking world records. They call him a serial record breaker.
That's like his whole thing?
Yes.
All right.
The latest one he did was he walked with a running lawnmower balanced on his chin. Now, you can see how this could have gone really, really poorly for this gentleman. It did not, though. That's why we're talking about it. He used an electric mower to attempt the record at a track in Boise, Idaho. He took a 1,100-foot walk with a running lawnmower balanced on his chin. He said he struggled with winds after surpassing the previous record and would have kept going, but the breeze finally pushed the mower off his face. He had an assistant walking next to him to quickly cut the power to the mower if it were to fall. I don't know about you. I'm not trusting that. Like, whoops, sorry, I didn't cut the power in time. You're dead. Like, no, you're balancing a running lawnmower on the blades are moving,
No,
dude.
thanks. No,
that
thanks.
thing
I'm good.
falls and you're toast.
No, thanks. I'm fine. There's just no way. I'm not doing that. I'm not putting myself at that kind of risk for what? Another useless world record? They don't pay you for those.
They don't.
You actually pay them, as a matter of fact. It's big business for Guinness. Look, you want to get one so we can say Cody Gold is the record holder for the most rally shots taken during a Royals postseason game. Let's talk, right? Let's try to make this thing
happening
happen.
today? They're only
It
$1.
sounds like it might.
They're only $1. So for $100, maybe we can really do some damage. Maybe not a good idea. But beyond that, like if we're trying, fine, one. But like, what the hell? What do you care about setting world records for? You trying to like brag to girls at the bar? What do you think it is?
Quick trash of the day, man.
There's no way that is a pickup line. By the way, do you know I'm the world record for balancing a running lawnmower on my chin?
I mean, it's a good like hinge profile line, I guess.
Once
you're gonna have to like be impressive after that.
Yeah, like how did you your chin? How did you do that? Explain. How did you know that this was something you were capable of doing?
And then she just leaves you on red forever.
Just ask your buddy can you put this lawnmower on my chin? I just want to see if I can balance it. What? Anyway, that's the trash of the day. Up next, Chiefs Red Half Hour here on 96.5 The Fan. We'll check in with our Odyssey NFL insider, Ross Tucker. Want to ask him about the trade scenarios that could be out there for the Chiefs at the wide receiver spot. That's up next here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Finding an attorney can be an overwhelming process. Fortunately, since 1996, Mark Ferguson has helped thousands of Kansas Cityans during their time of need. Whether you're facing a traffic violation or a more serious crime, Mark and his team of seasoned, compassionate professionals are here to fight for you in all of your legal matters. Mark has built his career on integrity, knowledge, and an incredible reputation. Call Mark Ferguson at 816-203-2263. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
Bowling Warehouse has taken over KC with a mashup of football, bowling, drinks, and fun. And with 3 15-foot televisions in the hottest bar in town, there's absolutely no better place for watch parties, get-togethers, and happy hours. And what could be better than splashing down pins at your next business event or private party? Plus, Bowling Warehouse KC is convenient for everyone off 435 and State Line. Whether it's a fun night out or a way for your organization to unwind, make your reservation now at bowlingwarehouse.kc.com. It's time to fool around and find out.
The best of the best event at Peter's Clothiers is this Friday and Saturday only. Select from the best designers in the world, such as Samuelson, the best value in custom clothing. Also, custom Zania cloth, the best fabric for sports coats. Come in to Peter's Clothiers, 124th and State Line.
NFL Week 5 is here, and you can start with a chance for a big win on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New to FanDuel, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Build out a quick same-game parlay for Thursday Night Football between the Bucs and the Falcons. Baker Mayfield, how about he goes over his passing yards? Drake London to go over his receiving, and Bijan Robinson to score a touchdown. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Whether you're a DIY enthusiast, a contractor, or business owner, Metal by the Foot has the perfect solution for you. Located in KC and Topeka, online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Outback presents Andrew Santino, Free Speech Tour, Saturday, October 5th at the Midland Theater.
She was a single mother. She would let us steal. She'd be like, take it, take it. When we get caught, she'd be like, Andrew, get over here. And then we'd get out of earshot, and she'd be like, you got to hide it better, buddy. You know that. Remember dinosaurs? Pretty good thing. They're not around anymore. Dude, leave the show tonight. You'd be like, fun show. Yeah, we had a good time. All right, goodbye. Go, 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 go.
Get in! Get in! Tickets on sale now at AXS.com.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings, located off 105th in Metcalf and Overland Park, Friday, October 4th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m., celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Light. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
It takes a lot to prepare for game day as a dedicated fan, and preparing the perfect tailgate meal might be most important of all. That's why Hellman's Real Mayonnaise is the MVP. Hellman's Mayonnaise is the secret to bring out the rich and creamy taste to all your game day dishes, from buffalo chicken dip to your favorite sub sandwich and everything in between. So give it a try, and mayo game day be delicious with Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. Shop at your local Walmart, Kroger, or grocery store, and add some extra deliciousness to your game day dishes this football season.
Okay, everyone, what did you think of the chocolate bar?
It's too chewy.
Feels kind of chalky.
Too much nougat.
I need to go brush my teeth.
Business is booming for Steph's small marketing research firm.
After all these focus groups, there's only one conclusion. I need more researchers.
And she's way too busy researching
Does this have peanuts?
to waste time researching resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Arvest Bank, believing in the power of serving others.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest. We believe.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
And we, of course, will also get right back into the Royals baseball on the air this afternoon as the Royals go for the quick 2-game sweep of the O's to move on to the American League Divisional Series. That's why we're hanging out at Jefferson's in Lenexa till 2 on the air, but then throughout the entire Royals game. They've got $1 rally shots, $3 Royal Blue refreshers, $12 Miller and Coors buckets, and you definitely got to crush some wings as soon as the show gets over. Someone that I know analyzes, pregame food and what the press box food is like is our next guest. That's our Odyssey NFL insider, Ross Tucker, where our insider calls are brought to you by Managerial Mayonnaise Mayo. Game day, be delicious. Ross, we're excited about baseball in this town right now, but we're going to be crushing some wings. I'm assuming you're a wing guy. What's the wing order look like?
I am definitely a wing guy, and having played a number of years in Buffalo only enhanced that. A couple things need to be said. First of all, the best flavor, I think, is typically like a honey barbecue.
Totally.
But if we're talking regular Buffalo wings, I am a medium guy. Like mild, I can do a little bit more than mild, but any more than medium, it's like taking away from the joy of the experience. I think more importantly, I am a drum guy, and I don't understand flat people. I don't have a lot of friends. I don't care to associate with flat people because drums are much better. For flat, you need to get two hands involved. How can you be drinking your beer if you have to have two hands to eat a flat? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So, and I think you get more meat from a drum. Now, some people think the meat is more tender in between the bones of a flat, but that's just too much work. Like, I'm not trying to do work here, okay? I'm trying to have a big chunk of chicken meat in my mouth, very easily accessible in between sips of beer.
I respect all those answers. I think we get along just fine, Ross, when you're in town. I think maybe this week for the Saints game, we can, have a chance to get some wings here very soon. But since we
one of you guys needs to text me. I'm doing Navy Air Force, 10 a.m. Mountain Time on Saturday on CBS. And then I will be flying to the lovely new airport there in Kansas City because I'm in the booth Monday night, Westwood One, with the legend Kevin Harlan. I can't wait.
Okay, so we'll shoot you a text. We'll get it set up and have a little fun. But since we last talked to you, it's gotten worse for the Chiefs in the injury front, Ross. Obviously, Rashee Rice, and there's still some mystery on whether or not it's for sure an ACL tear. This show is operating as if they've lost Rashee Rice for the year. What do you think the Chiefs' offense looks like with no Rashee Rice? Is it even worse off as far as talent-wise than where they were last year?
Yeah, I mean, probably. And they would tell you that because that's why they drafted Xavier Worthy in the first round and brought in Hollywood Brown, right? I think they probably thought their three receivers would be Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, and Xavier Worthy, and Worthy's kind of the last man standing out of those three, and he's just a rookie, right? Although he's made some really nice plays already, which is super impressive. But they'll find a way. It seems like they always do. It's kind of unbelievable. It's super impressive. Maybe there's more two tight end sets with Noah Gray. Maybe it's a situation where they can figure out a way to get more out of Sky Moore, more out of Moore, or Juju or Hardman. I mean, they have a bunch of guys there that have been there, know the offense, and frankly that have made some plays for them. Some big plays in big spots at times. Smith-Schuster and Hardman. So they'll figure it out. They know what they have in those guys at least at this point. Jay Watt as well, Justin Watson. So they'll just have to utilize these guys differently. It looked like Rice was kind of the number one guy and was going to really have a star season. It's a shame. It really is a shame.
Do you agree, watching Patrick Mahomes, that it seems like we're back to not only discussing the footwork, but does he trust this offensive line? Is that what you see as well at times on some of these throws, or maybe bailing on the pocket a little early? Is it just a lack of trust with his tackle situation right now?
I think that's probably part of it. I don't know. It's like part of me wonders, is he just like in chill till January mode or chill till the end of the game when he has to win the game mode? It is uncanny the amount of issues and problems you guys have as one of the 2 undefeated teams in the NFL. It's like nobody feels bad that you still find a way to win games. I'm not exactly sure. He'd have to be the one that tells you how much of it's breaking in some new weapons like Worthy, how much of it is some of the concerns about the offensive tackles. But I don't know. I mean, were they that much better last year? I mean, it was still Juwan Taylor and it was Donovan Smith. I don't know that it was a huge difference, but he did get hit pretty much, especially those first couple of games. So maybe he's a little bit more gun shy this year.
Did you feel better about Travis Kelce after the game? We know the second Rashee Rice went down, Kelce stepped back up. I think for the people who wanted to say maybe he's a little too old, it didn't look that way once they needed him.
No, and isn't that kind of what it was like last year? I mean, last year I don't think people were saying the age. They were saying more maybe just the the fact that he was injured. But he has he and Mahomes, and you guys know this, but it's just super impressive how it seems like their ability to make the plays when they need to make them. Like they needed him to step up against the Chargers, so he did, and they won. And Mahomes, a lot of times, it's making the play late. Not always, but they just have a much higher tendency to step up and play their best when the team needs them than most other people, if that makes sense. It's just it's uncanny. And, yeah, I think Kelce's fine. I think the bigger issue, I would say, is that I feel like they're going to have to lean on Kelce a lot more. So then what does January look like for him? I mean, what does January look like for him if he's getting a lot more touches and a lot more usage now? It's funny, my co-host on the Fantasy Feast podcast said that he thought at least in September, October, November, that Travis Kelce would be a smart-time player. Instead of like a part-time player, a smart-time player, meaning, that the Chiefs would be smart with him. They may not have that luxury now without Rice and Hollywood Brown.
I'm with you. We're talking to Ross Tucker, Odyssey NFL Insider. Insider Calls brought to you by Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. You can purchase Hellman's at your local Walmart or grocery store to add extra deliciousness and creamy flavor to your game day dishes this football season. I want to ask you real quick about the AFC as a whole. We saw on Sunday Night Football that the Bills dropped their first game. Baltimore just had them from the get-go, it looked like, and the Ravens have started to solidify some things after the 0-2 start. The Chiefs, yes, the problems they have are there, but I'm watching all these other teams in the AFC, Ross, and nobody's playing all that great. Nobody looks dominant.
No, they don't. Although, let me say the flip side. The only dominant team and the clear, although I still have the Chiefs number one in the Ross Tucker podcast power rankings, the only dominant team has been the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings have been the best team in football, but do I think the Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl? No, I do not. So while it would be nice to be playing great now and be the best team in football now, I think what we've learned is that what really matters is that you get better during the season and that you're the best team and or at least playing your best ball near the end of the season. I mean, I'll give you an example. I would say the last 2 years at this point, the Eagles were the best team. I mean, the llast 2 years, the Eagles were like 8-0, 9-0, 10-0. 1 year they kept going all the way to the Super Bowl, and they played great the whole time. They just weren't able to beat the Chiefs in that last game. But then last year they really fell off. So I think it's, there's a lot of factors, injuries, all those things. But you're right. Nobody's looked, at least in the AFC, like they're clearly the best team. But I think it's the usual cast of characters. I really do. I think the Bills are very good. I'm not going to lose faith in them after one game. I think the Ravens have shown these last two games that they're still going to be a force to be reckoned with. We know about the Chiefs, of course. I think the Texans-Bills game is a really interesting one for Chiefs fans this weekend because this is an opportunity for the Texans to kind of state their case that they're in that group, that they're in your four in terms of AFC legitimate Super Bowl contenders with Baltimore, Buffalo, and KC. Meanwhile, for the Bills, it's their chance to say Sunday night was a total aberration anomaly and that they're actually much better than that.
Ross Tucker, our Odyssey NFL insider. Appreciate it as always, man. Safe travels this weekend. And, yeah, we'll shoot you a text. We'll figure some things out this weekend.
Sounds great. See you, dude.
There you go. Ross Tucker. He joins us every week here on the show to get his perspective, what he's seeing from the Chiefs. It's nice to have his perspective because, look, we're so focused sometimes locally on the Chiefs. I always like to broaden out. Like, are we missing something? Like, are we missing anything?
Like, people will ask us sometimes, like, what do you see? I'm like, nah, I want the outsider's perspective. I'm in too deep occasionally.
But he's our NFL insider. You know?
Well, I mean, look, when I look at through the other lens, the AFC stuff is very true. One, they're one of only 2 undefeated teams. So, and the Vikings are the other. And, yeah, the Vikings have played great. They played better than the Chiefs. I think Kevin O'Connell's a great coach. But the Chiefs just manage to do this every year, and every other team in the AFC does not feel any different than they were last year, right? Every Bills season looks exactly the same. Every Bills season looks exactly the same. They dominate for a while. They lose some weirdo game. They'll kick the Chiefs' ass in a couple of weeks. Like 5 weeks from now, they'll beat the Chiefs by 2 touchdowns. And then the playoffs will come around, and they'll lose. And then the Ravens, they every couple of years have these runs where they look pretty good. They look really – they'll lose. And so it's hard. Like the Texans haven't taken some big leap forward. They look to be about the same team they were last year. Because typically when you have this, like, jumpstart year, you come back down a little bit, and then you can ascend back to there. So, yeah, the rest of the AFC doesn't terrify me, at least not yet. And, yeah, as much as, like, the Kelsey thing might be the biggest point I thought he made there, where it's just, yeah, I told you he played 94% of the snaps in this last game. If he has to do that for the next 14 weeks, and they're not able to give him a bye week or week 17 off or one of these others to just, like, make him feel good again, what's his body look like in January? It does worry me, sure.
Yeah, I think he can't have that kind of workload all year. You know, this is not a, oh my gosh, he's old and can't put up numbers. It's just the reality, I think, of the workload that when you are getting older is a problem. It's not that some people nationally have acted like prior to last week, like he just doesn't have it anymore. He can't get open. That's not true. But yeah, I don't know if he can play 17 regular season games
and then still be playoff Travis.
Correct, and that's going to be the challenge for them, and it's still why I believe at some point they will look outside the organization for some extra help at the wide receiver room. But that's not happening for weeks. I think we're weeks away from that being the case. And I certainly don't think it's Devontae Adams, as we discussed earlier. You know, and there's some other guys that are fun names to think about that I don't know how realistic they are as well. So appreciate Ross Tucker for joining us. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll get back into what's trending and also talk more about what's going on in, I don't know, what are we now? 4 hours? Is that right? My math?
3.5.
3.5 hours now. 3:30.
Not even quite, yeah.
3:30-ish or so, first pitch this afternoon from Baltimore. Vern's on deck show at 2 o'clock, an extended pregame because of the weird extra half hour till start
he'll
time.
go 2 to 3 under the normal time, then hand it over to the Royals Network at 3 o'clock. And then, of course, right here, 3:38. Don't forget, we are at Jefferson's in Lenexa. $1 rally shots, $3 blue refreshers, which I drank yesterday. I saw you had one of those Coors or Miller Lights buckets as well.
Those were very popular yesterday.
Yeah, very popular. Come out and see us at Jefferson's in Lenexa. You're looking for a place to watch the game today? Look no further. Jefferson's in Lenexa is where me, Alex, Carrington, Rob, Dusty, Bob, the whole crew will be out here watching. You can tell Speck about any of the things you think he's done wrong.
That's right.
Over
all
the years.
Complaints, direct them directly to Speck. You go talk to him. We had a lady here yesterday. I told her, just go talk to Speck. You got any problems? If you don't know why we want to know why Vern is not here, you talk to Speck.
You want Cody or Gold back? I don't really care. Whatever you think needs to be different, Speck will be here to hear those complaints. Speaking of complaints, the first couple of weeks, we on this show, and I thought fairly, had spent a little bit of time breaking down what was the lackluster play of Nick Bolton. Seemed like he didn't have his eyes with him, wasn't performing at the level we were accustomed to yet. And because of that, Gold, we were like, well, what's going on with Nick? And you and I maybe chalked it up to, he didn't play preseason, he's coming back from an injury, maybe that's what's going on. Well, I've shifted my focus. Bolton looks a lot better, and then all of a sudden, what the hell's wrong with Drew Tranquill? I understand the NFL's a year-to-year league, but all of a sudden, he can't guard. He can't cover?
It's
What's
weird.
the problem all of a sudden? He can't tackle? Like, out of nowhere for the last 2 weeks, Drew Tranquill looks like a ghost.
It's bizarre because he was a hell of a player, still is a hell of a player for them a year ago. And I don't know if it's just a bad couple weeks. If, the teams are putting him in some more challenging spots, we give credit to the game plan and how teams attack the defense. And if they've found something where he's a little more vulnerable, if some other adjustments have caused him to need to play a little bit differently, and it's going to take some time to adjust. I don't think he's been bad, but it was definitely surprising through the first 3 weeks to see his coverage skills haven't been up to par with what we expected and saw last year. I still think he's been very effective in other spots, but yeah, that's.
But he's missing tackles.
These are the more of the nitpicky stuff. But yeah, for a defense that overall is still playing at an extremely high level. It's why they're 4-0. They're not 4-0 without this defense, and he's part of it. But yeah, there's been some teams, I think, Cody, that have done a nice job of putting Nick Bolton or Drew Tranquill in some tricky spots for a linebacker, and that has happened a lot the first month of the season.
Yeah, and I understand, and the same as I'm willing with Bolton because the defense itself is playing overall pretty good football. I think the concern is, though, like, Tranquill used to be a hurt player. He's been a good player in the league, but he's never been like a superstar. And they looked at their lineup and they realized that they could get Tranquill for what was still a pretty good deal, Alex. And so they went for it across the board and took a chance. But still, man, I just wonder whether or not that this is like going to last the way that it did. You always got to worry about, like, we talk about this all the time, and I've told you a million times. Defenses typically do not hold year to year, which is players don't hold year to year. That's really why. You know that the Cleveland Browns are 20th in defensive efficiency this year? They've been the number one team in defensive efficiency for years, Cleveland. And now they're no good. They stink. Because sometimes players just aren't the same player. I'm starting to worry early.
I'm not there at all.
Maybe,
I'll be honest, man.
Maybe it's 10% less. I'm not there all the way. I'm just saying, like, it's one of those, like, something to monitor.
I think what happens, though, is, like, there's been 3 instances throughout the year and that where he's been beat in coverage, and then everybody just like acts like that's how it's been every single play of
the missed
of
tackles
the
maybe concern me more than the coverage somehow.
I mean, he did have 10 tackles, 11 tackles, or whatever it was this past week. I guess so. What maybe we had 12 instead. Like I'm not worried about bigger picture Drew Tranquill at all. I think, again, teams have done a good job in coverage, putting linebackers in some mismatch and taking advantage of said situation. And that didn't happen as much last year. The tackling, I'm really not concerned. I don't think Drew Tranquill just suddenly can't tackle. He also, again, had 10 or 11 tackles.
Yeah. The misses were, obviously not so much they cost him a game, but we could say the same thing about Mahomes' interceptions. Like, I wouldn't say that's not a concern. It's just not the thing that's cost him a football game. Some of it is just, I can't get over, like, the just general consensus of something I've said about the Chiefs each of the last 2 times we've come in on a Monday, which is like, you're not supposed to win and play like this. You're not supposed to miss tackles and throw picks and turn the ball over and be more penalized than the other team and win every week. So, like, part of it is, like, I'm waiting for the losses to happen, and then all of these things we've been talking about are going to be a much bigger thing we talk about. I'm trying to get ahead of it now because the things we're talking about now are going to be the things that cost them games if they start losing and don't clean it up. Because you can't – it's unsustainable. It just truly is. Unsustainable to win at the rate that they're winning and do all of these things weird, you know?
I would put the Drew Tranquill thing way
lower
down,
on the list.
Way down the list. I think what happened, there was one play in coverage, and, like, social media freaked out about it, and then people have ran with that and act as if that is just who he now is as a player. He's way down the list of my concern with the team period, and certainly even on the defense. I think there's other questions that you could have, but
also helps when Chris Jones is the most dominant player on the field.
It was unbelievable.
Defense going to look pretty good. He was AFC Defensive Player of the Week.
Just saw that come across in the last 30 minutes.
But yeah, I mean, when you play at that level, everything on the defense works, right? When Chris Jones is going to play at that level, again, I'm not in panic mode. The Chiefs are 4-0.
I like this text,
wide receiver
though,
stuff, but I still think you have to keep an eye on
this text for the 816. I think this is a good reminder. I actually think it's a really good text, and it's probably social media causes this more. He said, I wish people would stop talking about guys getting old every time they don't produce for one game. Kelsey, Bolton, now Tranquill, relax. I think it's a great text. I would totally agree. I think now more than ever, there's everybody's an expert on, they pull up the all-22. They'll screenshot stuff on social media. One person screenshots it, and then they retweet it, and then everybody takes it as gospel, and suddenly everybody thinks that player didn't play well, and it's like one play that maybe they got beat and made a mistake on one play. It doesn't mean that's how they've been the entire year. So I think that's a great text. I would tend to agree with that.
Yeah, again, I'm just saying my stance on defenses is just defenses as a whole don't last as long as great offenses in the NFL.
But this defense is still playing great.
Yeah.
You're just saying you're concerned that this could lead to them not, I guess.
Not them as a whole.
Okay.
Just like I'm more worried about individual play. The entire defensive play right now, that doesn't concern me. Their defense has kept up more than that at this point.
We are broadcasting from Jefferson's in Lenexa ahead of the Royals Game 2, wild card game this afternoon. You can hear the game right here on 96.5 The Fan. We'll be hanging out after the show as well. Everybody from 96.5 going to be out here. And if you were here yesterday, we had a great time watching the Royals get game 1 of this series. We've got $1 rally shots, $3 Royal Blue refreshers, $12 Miller and Coors buckets. And coming up next, we'll get to what's trending and then right back into this Royals team. Looking at the lineup in particular, one small change in the lineup today. Could that actually spark the offense? That's next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Sean Barber. There's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings, located off 105th in Metcalf and Overland Park, Friday, October 4th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m., celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Light. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
The Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and our 2 soccer teams, the Current and St. Louis City SC, are all endorsing Amendment 2. Here's why you should support it too. Right now, Missouri sports fans are taking their money and placing their bets in Kansas and Illinois. We're losing our money to other states, money that could be invested in our schools. Amendment 2 fixes that. By legalizing sports betting, Amendment 2 will generate over $100 million for Missouri schools over the next 5 years. And there's a strong constitutional guarantee ensuring the revenue from sports betting will go to education. Kansas and Illinois know sports betting is a winner for their fans and taxpayers. It's time for Missouri to get into the game. Amendment 2 means over $100 million for Missouri schools. Join the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, Current, and St. Louis City SC in supporting Amendment 2. Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
Hey, football fans, kick the excitement into overtime with a Pro Football No Sweat Token, courtesy of BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Log into your BetMGM account today to receive your Pro Football No Sweat Token. Then apply the token to your next pro football wager. If your bet loses, you'll receive your wager back as bonus bets. That's right. Even if your bet doesn't make it across the goal line, you'll receive your wager back as bonus bets. Bet with confidence all season long with BetMGM. Your home for the best pro football action and much more. Log in today to get your BetMGM Pro Football No Sweat Token.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
You're in hot water, mister.
What'd I do?
I told you months ago our utility bills were getting higher because of that old outdated tank water heater.
Maybe it's time we finally switch to a Navien tankless.
Learn about Navient's high-efficiency tankless water heaters, endless hot water, all while helping you save on your energy costs.
Hey, look at this. Our utility bill is lower since we got the Navient tankless water heater.
Who's in hot water now?
We are, all the time.
Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
When it comes to financial goals, everyone has that one thing you want to accomplish. Raise your credit score, give your kitchen a well-deserved glow-up, or eliminate credit card debt. At Main Street Credit Union, your main thing, well, that's our thing. It's what we're passionate about, helping you achieve your main thing. So bring us your wants, your needs, and your goals. We'll provide you with the tools to achieve them. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
The nightmare stories are all too common with home services companies. Shoddy workmanship, subpar materials, or everyone's favorite, getting halfway done with the job and taking a 2-month break. So, if you need to replace your windows, siding, or doors, you could spend hours online researching companies. Or you can start with the perfect company and call Thermo King. With over 25 years selling and installing energy-efficient windows, James Hardy siding, and the most beautiful entry doors available, Thermo King will make your home project hassle-free and easy. Their triple glass replacement windows will save you money on your energy bills. Their James Hardy siding will last decades. And their entry doors will make your guests say, "Holy cow!" Right now, you can save thousands on replacement windows, siding, or a new entryway door. Great financing plans are available to make paying for your project easy. Get the process started today. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
Let's face it. Nowadays, most companies have to rely on dozens of expensive, disconnected platforms to run their business. And even then, things can get a little, well, stressful. But with Odoo's all-in-one management software, packed with a suite of fully integrated business applications, every process is streamlined. Tasks are automated, and success is just a few clicks away. See how Odoo can take your business to the next level at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie, and one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects, but you got the idea. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
Participating U.S. Wendy's.
You can listen to the play-by-play of the Chiefs and Saints game with Mitch, Danon, and Kling right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
Well, of course, number one on What's Trending is Royals playoff baseball this afternoon. Game 2 of this American League wildcard series against the Orioles. Pretty simple for the Kansas City Royals. You win, and you go on to the ALDS. You lose, and we get a Game 3 tomorrow.
I don't want that.
I don't want that at all. Let's get it done today. Seth Lugo on the bump, 3:38. An odd start time, but it's 3:38 first pitch right here on 96.5 The Fan. Vern's on Deck show starts right after our show at 2 o'clock, and then we're just hanging out here at Jefferson's in Lenexa. We were out here yesterday, had a great time watching the Royals get the win, and let's do it all over again today.
Yeah, should be fun. We'll be out here at Jefferson, as you mentioned. Plus, I just get the sweep, so we don't even have to worry about this. No sweat is what we're looking for tomorrow. That we can just all hang out on a Thursday before, thinking about Saturday's
That'd be nice.
ALDS game against the New York Yankees. Plus, it really just helps him from a pitching standpoint. Next up on What's Trending, Bally was in court today, as in the Royals' regular season home from a streaming platform perspective, and they have said that they're going to drop every single one of their TV rights deals as part of the hearing, except the Atlanta Braves. Major League Baseball called this a surprise. They did not know that this was happening. They were being asked to answer some questions about how this impacts Major League Baseball, and they're like, we didn't even know this was happening, was their stance essentially in court today, which means 2025 regular season for the Royals, we don't know what it'll be streaming on. Will it be on Bally's on a reworked deal? Maybe Amazon, MLB with no blackouts, local TV, Fox Sports, whatever.
I doubt it'll be on
Royals, KC Network coming back? I don't know. But either way, we do not know.
We don't. I would bet on it not being on local television.
Give us RSTN back.
My guess is, if I had a bet right now, it would be they probably just have a reworked deal. My second guess would be MLB takes it in-house with these other teams, including the Royals, and then they find a distributor a la Amazon or somebody like that. But that is interesting news today, that is for sure. Next up on What's Trending in the NFL, we now know that Davante Adams officially does want out of Las Vegas. The Raiders also said they are willing to consider trading him. Adam Schefter reporting, while the Jets and Saints' interest in Adams is real, there are other teams that remain interested, and despite any speculation, the team not expected to be an option is Kansas City, despite their need at wide receiver. I also just saw Jordan Schultz just a minute or so ago say, quote, the Cowboys are not interested in trading for Davante Adams. He goes on to say the Chiefs are obviously going to be in the receiver market, but a divisional trade is highly unlikely. The Jets are seen by many executives as a top landing spot. Makes sense. Rodgers connection. The Saints has the Derek Carr connection from their college days, so not surprised by the teams. The dark horse team, we threw it out yesterday. I think the Commanders would be an interesting team to watch, perhaps.
They're asking over on First Take, what do you think? Do you think Davante Adams regrets leaving more, or Tyreek Hill?
It's got to be Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, the Chiefs have won 2 Super Bowls. Davante Adams, the Packers haven't won rings since he left. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
It's got to be Tyreek, even though he's had numbers. His numbers, he got paid and all that. Davante got paid. His numbers have been fine. They're both not happy, but Tyreek was on a team with the best quarterback in the league, and that team has won rings and hasn't really missed anything.
I think Davante Adams should have just waited to leave. He did it too soon. He should have jumped. He should have just jumped later. Next up on What's Trending, Chris Jones has been named the AFC Defensive Player of the Week by the NFL. 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss in that win last week. He has simply been one of the best defensive players in all of the sport. I still don't think he's got odds anywhere close to Defensive Player of the Year territory. But for a long shot bet that some people made last year, Chris Jones got a better shot this year than he ever has because he's off to a dominant start.
Oh, he's been great. I wouldn't waste my money on a Defensive Player of the Year bet, but he's been off to a dominant start and deserves the Defensive Player of the Week accolade. That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Coming up in about 25 minutes, we'll be joined by our Royals insider, Josh Vernier, who once again has his on-deck show at 2 o'clock. We told him he's joining us every single day as long as the Royals are still alive in the postseason. So hopefully he's going to be for many, many weeks. I want to get his perspective on how yesterday played out, what he saw from that Royals bullpen, and what does he make of the matchup today? We saw there's one change in the lineup. Otherwise, the Royals kept it the same. 5 hits yesterday, just the one run. The one run, all that mattered. But the one change is that Tommy Pham not in the lineup in right field. It'll be Hunter Renfroe. Other than that, looking at the same
Looks
lineup.
the same.
Freddie Fermin just has, he's a pinch hitter opportunity today, for Gurriel or something like that. I know some people wanted Freddie in there. I don't know how you work him in the lineup right now, unless you move Salvi to first, I guess, and then you have Freddie catch. But let's not forget, Freddie Fermin's a fun player to watch. He's had a great year. The last month, though, much like the rest of the offense, he has not been the same player at the plate. And so I'm not surprised that he's not in the lineup again today.
I think in a lineup in which there is a left-hander on the mound to start the game, we're probably having a conversation. I think then you can justify, you know what? Vinny's still coming back from this injury. We use him off the bench the second they go to the righties out of their pen, and we're going to have Vinny late. We're going to move things around, and it all fits kind of like a glove. But unless there's going to be that, you also kind of have to rely on the guys that got you there. Salvador Perez, Vinnie Pasquantino, those are the guys that got you there. I think some of this is like looking for any kind of offensive burst. Look, I get it. Corbin Burns dominated the Royals lineup yesterday. Bobby Wood Jr. managed to get the one big hit that got them the win, but Corbin Burns made him look bad. real bad, right? They didn't get runners on base. They didn't walk. He was all strikes, all in the middle of the zone. He's throwing sliders with 20 inches of break. He looked ridiculous. But I get the people who are like, yeah, but the Royals offense hadn't hit in a month. Fair. More than fair.
Well,
I thought yesterday was more about Corbin Burns than it was the offense.
I mean, I think if there's an opportunity today, and there's a good chance there will be, you could see Freddie pinch hit, or yesterday they didn't have to use Dairon Blanco. Nope. Just the way the scenario's set up, they didn't have many base runners, and when they did, it was Maikel Garcia who can run, and they took advantage of that. Bobby obviously is never going to get pinch hit for, but he can run, so they were aggressive on the base pass. Where on the flip side, the Orioles really didn't have that opportunity.
Had no speed.
Didn't have any speed to go and do that. It's one of the advantages in why Dairon Blanco. I think today we'll see how the game plays out. I would be stunned if it's another 1-0 game.
I can't take it, dude.
I kind of love it though.
Do you? It makes me feel sick to watch sports like that sometimes.
Maybe
I don't like that. I don't like the way my body feels watching that game.
But that's what's see part of it. Yes. No. See, I love this is for.
But you don't like risky. You don't like skydiving or those kinds of things. That's what like adrenaline.
My life isn't in jeopardy.
But it feels that way.
My life's not in jeopardy when I'm watching the Royals.
But it feels that way.
Living and dying by every pitch, but I know my life's not in jeopardy versus skydiving. No, I think that's what playoff baseball is kind of all about. I mean, very rarely do you see a team just go out there and win 8-1. I would be stunned if we saw an 8-2 game today from the Royals on either side of the result. I think this, yesterday I thought it was going to be 4-2. Obviously, it wasn't anywhere near that. It was 1-0. Today, I don't know, 3-1, 3-2. I feel like it's going to be another low-scoring game.
Players people were asking about in the lineup. A lineup that did not score yesterday, but the one run. But won, so less hard on him. If MJ Melendez does something to hurt the team again today, see how the lineup tomorrow? He hurt the team yesterday. He almost cost him a run. He was useless at the plate yesterday, right? That doesn't mean he's never going to get a hit or has never gotten a hit for this team. But if he does something to actively hurt the team again today, do you give him a day?
It depends. Do they win today and then they don't play again until Saturday? So then
I don't care. I'm saying in a loss.
You're saying in a loss?
He hurts them today with another Aaron left or a bad day, another
day at the plate yesterday. For Baltimore. I don't know that answer. These are all factors they're going to consider.
Sure.
If that we don't know.
It's mostly a righty, probably.
We don't know who that would be if, in fact, this game, the series gets to a game 3. But yeah, I think that would be a conversation. I hope for his sake he comes up with a big hit today because that was unacceptable in left field. That just can't happen. But I would ask you, today, so who would you want playing left field if it wasn't for him today?
That's always the inevitable problem where you're like, are you putting Pham and Renfroe in
that's
at the same time? I do fully understand that. But MJ wasn't a full-time player the entire season this year. They moved him around. They bounced some other people around. Hell, sometimes they put, you might not like the names, they sometimes put Frazier or Garrett Hampson or some of these other dudes.
Those are two names I don't think anybody runs in the lineup.
No, I don't.
Let's be real.
Look, MJ Melendez can run into a home run. Has he lately? No. He is once again ridden into a deep, deep, dark slump. The problem with benching MJ Melendez, which I just wouldn't do right now, is that he hasn't made those types of mistakes in left field very often this year. So, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
He also has a way better arm than some of your other options.
Way better arm. Though he made some bad throws in September. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Generally speaking, I'm fine with his defense, I guess is the end result of that. And you never know when it's going to be. But, boy, when MJ gets hot for a minute, white hot. He hits as good as anyone in the damn lineup when he's hot.
How many times this year, even in a frustrating season, there was a ninth-inning, 2-run home run or a grand slam or whatever it was a couple times this year. Yeah. So that is always the potential that
home run against was the Guardians that eventually helped them sneak within close to first place. So. Felt like, at the time, one of the biggest hits of the year for the Royals. I thought he and Maikel Garcia were my picks to be most likely players who aren't having good years, that are just surprising postseason.
Yeah, we did it yesterday. Yeah. I think I said Renfroe. He wasn't even in the lineup yet. He's in the lineup today. We'll see what he can bring to the table. Maybe he's a guy that he's got some pop. If it's a low scoring game, can he get a hold of one? And we're going to find out. We'll talk to Vern about that as well. What does he make of the one change, and also if he thinks this is a matchup? I know some numbers just in terms of Hunter Renfroe against today's starting pitcher and why Eflin and why he's in there. Renfroe 5 for 13 with 2 doubles and a dinger.
Yeah, they trust the numbers. They'll always go with the numbers. And based on the fact that they were an 86-win team after a 56-win team, am I supposed to argue it? I understand that he was technically the manager of that squad as well, but this goes back to the whole manager thing versus play calling versus what do you expect him to do, right? Like, how do you expect him if there are no starters? Who do you want him to start? Now, I just think that there could be good MJ Melendez today, and I hope so. And I still think he strikes me as the kind of player who's going to have an unexpectedly big hit in a big moment for this team if they make a run. But he's also going to be one of the players you're probably frustrated with if they don't. You know, he's a swing player, is the truth. And that's where the kind of the lineup looks most of the time. But, yeah, the only switch today, in case you were looking at the lineup, is Renfroe in and Tommy Pham out.
Royals plus 128 on the money line, so they are dogs again today, even with Lugo on the mound. Orioles minus 152 with their backs against the wall, obviously facing elimination. Total for the game, 7.5. It was 7 going in, and, of course, it was way under. Just one run.
You think?
Scored. Yeah, just one run scored in the game. I was trying to see
the under again today.
Yesterday
Jeez.
we were talking about Vinnie, who of course didn't get a hit yesterday but still helped contribute on FanDuel batter props. Let's see, home run, hit a home run today. The favorite Royal player to hit a home run based on the odds market is Hunter Renfroe. He's plus 470. Then Salvi 5-1. Bobby Wood Jr. 5-1. Michael Massey 6-1. And further down the list, Vinny's now plus 680 today after being 5-1 yesterday. Melendez plus 630, and then you go way down the list. Kyle Isbell 11-1, Michael Garcia 14-1.
Just weren't many home runs in that game yesterday. It turns out none.
Just one
there
run
were no
period.
Runs.
Yeah, just one run period, man.
There were just no runs.
We'll get back to the Royals in 15 minutes with our Royals insider Josh Vernier, but let's get to all 32. So I want to start with the Miami Dolphins. We all know it's been a tough spot because Tua's concussion history, and he's on IR.
Sure.
Although it sounds like testing is going well for him.
Yeah, sounds like he'll be back.
He's
at some
planning
point
on
soon.
playing week 8, week 9. So knowing that, Mike McDaniel, a pass though on how bad they've been for the last 10+ games. Because of that, and we all know you lose your quarterback, it's challenging. We know how they finished the season, though. They finished the regular season when Tua was healthy poorly. They came to Kansas City in the wild card game. They had no chance to win that game.
Terrible.
They haven't been good for a while. Mike McDaniel is also 1-6 without Tua as his quarterback. They've got all these weapons. We just talked about Tyreek Hill a second ago. Tyreek Hill has been a non-factor. Usually, especially with the love we were giving Mike McDaniel, offensive mind, creative guy. Oh my gosh. Even with a backup quarterback, you would think they would still find ways to get Tyreek Hill the ball, and they really haven't, man.
No, they've been really, really bad. I've told you before, Mike McDaniel probably lands in that like Zach Taylor thing where you're like, man, he's a pretty good coach, it looks like. But they can get exposed a little bit. And the quarterback thing is always important, but look at the Steelers. They lost their starting quarterback. They're 3-1. Look at the Packers. They lost their starting quarterback. They're 3-1. Like, plenty of teams have found a way to win football games even with backup quarterbacks. Backup quarterbacks who were garbage at their last spot, including like guys like Malik Willis. How the Tennessee Titans have as many wins as you? And they're starting a guy who makes a meme every week.
Head-to-head?
Yeah, and not just beat you, kicked your ass.
Mason Rudolph.
Not good, man. Not good, at least on that end. Because it just makes you wonder, like, what the hell's going on with it. I have long since stated on the show, I do not think I would be a better GM than any GM in the NFL. But I've also stated that if we pretend like they're infallible and I'm not allowed to question their decision-making because they've made it this high, wrong. They can make wrong decisions just like I could make right ones if I was put in that spot. And I was reminded of that, and I can't play it a slightly longer clip, from the off-season version of Hard Knocks with the New York Giants. This clip got brought back up because of the start for Jaden Daniels, and it perfectly encapsulated how we can all be right. The clip as explained. A teenage kid of the Giants' current GM is sitting on his couch, and he's asking his kids, what would you do with my pick? And he's like, take Jaden Daniels. He's great. It's obvious. He tells his dad, you only get to do this job once. You should try to win if you're going to do it.
Yeah, that went
oh,
viral.
my God.
That went viral months ago. Yeah.
I've never felt more in my bones when that clip started circling around that you're like, I mean, this kid just gets it. What the hell are you sitting on your ass hoping for another year of Daniel Jones for? Just go take a quarterback and try to be good, damn it. Please. Because part of this is if you don't take chances at quarterback, you'll never know whether you get it. I get it. You're getting fired if you get it wrong, but I'm convinced you're getting fired if you get it if you don't do it. So if you just make no move. And so you might as well just take the chance.
Oh, the NFC
keep
East,
a job for 20 damn years.
The NFC East, other than Dan Quinn, because he just got the job, he's also off to a good start. The NFC East might have a new head coach in Dallas, might have a new head coach in Philadelphia, might have a new head coach in New York.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels might get the entire division fired.
that one just Nick Sirianni's also, even before Jake Daniels arrived, like was on a little bit of a hot
Hurts turned the
seat.
ball over in 9 straight games.
Yeah, they did not look good at all down in Tampa. That is for sure.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been very good. I'm going to keep it with the quarterback conversation. So we've talked about Justin Fields a little bit and how he's done. The Steelers said they think they're going to go with Justin Fields again. They're going to tab him as a starter. Do you know why? I don't know why they're making this a week-by-week thing. Justin Fields has played well enough. They're 3-1. He played actually pretty well against the Colts, threw for, I think, over 300 yards, even though they lost the game. Why are they even debating this with Russell Wilson anymore? I know that they brought him in, and it was supposed to be a quarterback battle, and it hasn't been because of the injury. But why not just keep rolling with Justin Fields? I don't get why they're trying to make this a week-by-week thing and just evaluating it week by week and not just saying, Fields is the guy.
Fundamentally, I absolutely agree with you, and I think the upside is always going to be better with Justin Fields, just based on youth and the situation he was put in before. The only thing I can think of, Drew, if you ask me the question of, why are they messing with this, is Mike Tomlin is a really, really, really good coach, fundamental coach, understands how football works, and I think he honestly thinks Russell Wilson is better than Justin Fields. I think it actually is that. I think it boils down simply to that. Is the reason why he chose Russell Wilson is the beginning, the reason why he was going with Russell Wilson week 1 until the injury, is that I think Mike Tomlin honestly believes Russell Wilson is the better quarterback. That's not me. I'm not saying I believe that.
Yeah.
But I think Mike Tomlin does.
I wonder if it would take Russell Wilson actually playing to see who actually is, and maybe it is what that takes. Where we're going to give Russ, if they lose this upcoming week and they play the Cowboys on Sunday night, they lose. Maybe Russell's ready, and Mike Tomlin's like, you know what, we're going to go with Russ, and we'll see how it goes, and then we'll go from there. I mean, he's got a 70% completion percentage. His rating's at almost 100. He's been good enough for them to be a starter in the league, where you look at the options, and Russell Wilson I don't think is better based on what we've seen the last couple of seasons. Why not just stick with Fields is what I'm thinking. Because it's helping
I think
Najee Harris
they
too,
are. I think they are, even though they're saying it's week to week. I think they are, but they don't want to just say Justin Fields is our starter the rest of the season, because while he's played good, I don't think he's played to the point where I think you just know the rest of the season that there's not a chance that he couldn't struggle, and you do have to just go to Russell Wilson, because you're like, hey, whatever, we got to do something to change it up if Justin Fields just sucks. He's never, Justin Fields still, this stretch he's on, this is the best 3-game stretch he's had win-loss wise in his career.
Average.
And he's been fine. He's been okay.
He is with a much better organization too,
no question
in that regard as well.
But they also, when they traded, they traded for Russell, or they signed Russell Wilson, March 14th. They traded for Fields March 16th. So they weren't. I mean, it wasn't.
They had plenty of time to look at both.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's not like they looked at Russ for 2 months and then said, "Oh boy, we better go get a quarterback." They signed both. It's not like they're sold on either guy.
But that's why I also think that they think, or he thinks, based on an entire offseason program, Russell Wilson's a better quarterback. And maybe it's just a history, right? He's also watched Russell Wilson be a starter in this league for 8 years. And so he probably just convinces himself that he's more in that.
If they do have a good year, do you think that the Steelers are like, you know what? Fields is our guy, and we're just going to keep it rolling? Because it was only a 1-year deal with Russell Wilson anyways.
I don't think either one of these quarterbacks is starting for the Steelers next year.
Do you think they're going to draft a guy?
You know what I almost did for my
because the Steelers are in purgatory in a way where they're too good to get a quarterback,
You know what I almost did for my L32 is something we can look at here for just a minute, because we've got a couple minutes before we get to Josh Vernier, but there's 2 matchups that really swing my opinion on some teams this week. One is Buffalo and Houston. Which of those 2 teams kind of takes the edge here, takes the lead? Because then one has started to fall back and one has started to go forward, and by week 5, I don't have to make decisions. I'm there. The other one, Drew, is your team, Baltimore and Cincinnati. If Cincinnati wants to prove that their season wasn't over when they started 0-3, well, they better sure as hell not start 1-4 and lose to Baltimore at home. They actually have to win this game. And now they're catching Baltimore when they're playing good. They're playing good football.
It definitely sounded like Lou Anarumo finally wasn't pulling any punches and just going to throw guys, and is actually going to just throw guys out there. If you're playing good enough, fine. If you're struggling, I'm yanking you out. I don't care if you're cornerback 1, 2, safety 1. I don't care. It doesn't matter. If you're screwing around, then you're not playing. Which he needs to, I think, kind of in a way salvage his job, because if they start 1-4 and they give up 30 points again to Lamar Jackson, which not that that's an easy thing to prohibit, but I mean, if they are 1-4 and he's the main reason that they're in that case, it's going to be tough for him to keep that job, I think.
Yeah, most likely. Just interesting. There's several, like some of the records wouldn't indicate it, Gold, but there are several like heavyweight fights this weekend from an NFL perspective. Like that's not Ravens, Bengals. That's been two of the best teams over the last 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, if
Bills, Texans, that gives us,
if Baltimore wins, that gives them 3 wins in a row, and suddenly you kind of, I don't want to say flat out erase their first 2 games, but
I think maybe you do, though.
But it changes from a seeding perspective. Then they're right back in the mix with everybody else for one of the top 2-3 seeds in the AFC because they got the head-to-head win now over Buffalo, yeah. And then in their division, we know they'll play Cincy twice. But this one is in Cincinnati, isn't it?
Yep.
On Sunday, too. So
yes, it
if
is.
Baltimore gets the one and knowing the next time they face him is back in Baltimore, I mean, this is a
what
huge
a slate
game.
this weekend. Falcons at home against the Bucks.
Great.
Vikings at home against the Jets. Interested in that. Texans, Bills, we just mentioned.
Vikings
Bengals,
game's
Ravens.
in London. It's in London, I think.
Oh, it is in London. You're right. Sorry. There's just a lot of good games.
You guys mentioned the Cowboys. So they have the Steelers this weekend. They then have the Lions, the Niners, the Falcons, the Eagles, the Texans, the Commanders.
They're screwed.
Good luck. That's why, we were just
Cowboys
saying
aren't making the postseason.
We were talking about the NFC East. Like, that's why all these teams
Yeah,
other than
right.
the Commanders are going to have new head coaches. Cowboys are in big trouble.
They just lost
based off
Brandon
that.
Cooks today.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks hasn't done anything in a couple weeks.
They
but
might
yeah,
actually be able to get Shador outright. They won't even have to trade anything to get him. Potentially.
They should also. We talked about
Didn't
the
they
Chiefs.
just pay Dak?
We talked about the Chiefs wide receiver
Oh,
market.
right, duh, I'm sorry.
The Cowboys. Yeah, they just paid Dak. The Cowboys should be looking to trade for Deontay Johnson as well, just like the Chiefs. They should be looking to bring back Amari Cooper. They should be looking to trade for DeAndre Hopkins. They should be looking to trade for Devontae Adams. I know there's a report from Schultz that says the Cowboys are not interested, but that's what the Cowboys need to be doing. Their wide receiver room, it's CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Tolbert, I believe, after Brandon Cook's injury. Not good. That's all 32 in the NFL. Up next, we get right back to the Royals as we get closer and closer to first pitch of Game 2 of this wild card series against the Orioles. Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, tells us what to expect this afternoon.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Fan.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
When it came to my vision health, I trusted the best in Kansas City. That, of course, is DuraVision. I called them up for a free consultation at 913-491-3330, and I found out I was a candidate for LASIK. And why did I choose DuraVision? It was pretty simple. I was looking for who could not only put together a plan for me that's not a one-size-fits-all approach, which they could, but could also explain to me exactly what they're going to do and how that could ultimately impact my vision needs for many, many years to come. And for over 40 years, DuraVision, right over in Overland Park, have improved thousands of lives with advanced procedures like SBK Advanced LASIK and refractive lens exchange, advanced cataract surgery, you name it. They are Kansas City's trusted leader for vision correction. And since I underwent SBK Advanced LASIK, I don't need contacts. I don't need glasses anymore. I simply just wake up and see every day. It really was the best decision I made. You make that same decision as well. 913-491-3330 and tell them Gold from 96.5 The Fan said.
The best of the best event at Peter's Clothiers is this Friday and Saturday only. Select from the best designers in the world, such as Samuelson, the best value in custom clothing. Also custom Zania cloth, the best fabric for sports coats. Come in to Peter's Clothiers, 124th and State Line.
It's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here now on 96.5 The Fan, telling you guys about my friends over at Window World. Window World is the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. Pick up the phone right now and call Window World today at 816-799-0820 or check out the website, windowskansascity.com. And remember this, when you call Window World, be sure to mention that you heard this on The Drive with me, and you'll be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets during the upcoming season. You know they got some big games, and you're going to want to be there. So call my friends over at Window World. They're offering right now 36 months, same as cash financing, with approved credit. In over 20 years of business, Window World has improved the look and thermal efficiency of over 54,000 homes right here in the Kansas City metro. Check out the website, windowskansascity.com. Pick up the phone today at 816-799 899-0820 for a free home estimate. Call to be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets. Remember, Window World, simply the best for less. And the official window of your Kansas City Chiefs.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
It's time to review the top 3 highlights of the day. I'm joined as always by my co-anchor Snoop.
Hey, what up, though?
Snoop, number 1 has to be getting the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence at T-Mobile.
Yeah, you should hustle down to T-Mobile like a dog chasing a squirrel, chasing a nut.
Nice analogy, Snoop. Dogs do love to chase squirrels.
And squirrels love to chase those nuts.
On to highlight number 2. At T-Mobile, families can save 20% every month versus the other big guys.
That is very impressive. You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
That's exactly what I'm planning on doing with my savings, Snoop. Now, take it away, Snoop.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on them. Now drop that jingle.
24 monthly bill credits eligible trade-in on Go 5G Next. Well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits and credits stop and balance on required finance agreement too. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
Your new Total Wine & Lee's Summit has the largest selection of wines, spirits, and beers. Plus, totally low prices and friendly service from our expertly trained guides. With over 8,000 wines, 4,500 spirits, and 2,500 beers, you're sure to find your favorites and something new. You can even order in-store or curbside pickup. Find what you love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. Now open in Lee's Summit at Summit Woods Crossing next to TJ Maxx. Drink responsibly. B21.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's majestic golden eagles and other less majestic birds taunting you through the baseball-sized hole in your new windows. It's soaring guitar solos performed through faulty wiring in your garage, which subsequently erupts into flames. It's also around-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
The best of the best event at Peter's Clothiers is this Friday and Saturday only. Select from the best designers in the world, such as Samuelson, the best value in custom clothing. Also, custom Zegna cloth, the best fabric for sports coats. Come in to Peter's Clothiers, 124th and State Line.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick six, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Game down to one pitch. Ursig
brings it in, and there's the last pitch on a swing and a miss. And the Royals have shut out Baltimore 1-0. The Royals scored that run, as I just mentioned, in the 6th inning. They made it stand up. There's something about the Royals in Baltimore in postseason. The Royals have their number. The big number today is 1-0. Royals.
That's how it sounded yesterday here on 96.5 The Fan as the Royals took Game 1 of this wild card series. Game 2 coming up at 3:38. Vern's on deck show, an extended pregame today coming up at 2 o'clock, and we welcome in our Royals insider, Josh Vernier. Vern, I like this. We're talking to you every day. It's fun. The Royals are winning. Why not? We just keep doing this all month, as I said.
Hey, I'm with it. I appreciate you guys having me on. I love how quickly the PA people in Baltimore went to that Fleetwood Mac, don't stop thinking about tomorrow. I mean, it was strike 3, don't stop. Yeah. Oh, man, that was hilarious.
I got to be honest. Like, if I were anybody who lived in Baltimore, Vern, I would hate Kansas City as a city. Every time they face us in sports, it goes horrible for them.
Yeah, Buffalo, Baltimore. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes has created quite a few enemies, and now the baseball team helping out with it. And look, the 9 straight postseason defeats dates back to Haas, Moose, Kane, and the boys sweeping them back in 2014. Man, that place is going to be rocking early. But if the Royals are able to score the momentum, I think they can completely kill the crowd early because of what you're saying, right? They're already fearful of that jersey, of that KC. They're already fearful of, once again, a quick exit in October. I think Seth Lugo, Bobby, Vinnie, and the guys have the chance to take the crowd out of the game right away.
And that pitching, we've talked about it for months and months and months, and it is interesting, though. The starting pitching we had faith in, understandably so, that Cole Reagins was going to go out there and deal. But to see the bullpen do what they did, if I would have told you, Vern, a month ago that, hey, the Royals are going to make the playoffs, there's going to be a playoff game that they win, and they win 1-0. A lot of people would have called us crazy, I think, considering the struggles this bullpen has had all year. And yet, yesterday, Long and Bubic and Urseg were just perfect.
Yeah, if you would have told me a few months ago they win 1-0, I'm thinking Lugo went the distance. I'm thinking Reagins went the distance and Bobby went bridge, and that's how they walk away with the victory. No, listen, and the thing that's strange is we all talked about it in July and August. We talked about it in June, about how different come October the bullpen will look, not only with the possibility of an Alec Marsh, even though he's not there, but a Brady Singer, acquisitions after the trade deadline. We knew Chris Bubic was going to be able to help this team at some point. We wondered if Daniel Lynch could help this team at some point. But while we said it, while we knew the bullpen was going to be different in the postseason, I don't think we thought that to a man they would all be putting up the eye-popping numbers that they are. I'm not surprised Chris Bubic is good. I'm not surprised that Lucas Urseg is pitching well, but everyone is pitching well. We'll see what you eventually get from a Michael Lorenzen, but John Schreiber's been throwing the ball well. I can't wait to see Angel Zerpa get an opportunity. Hopefully, maybe not today. Hopefully Seth Lugo could just hand the ball to Lucas Urseg. But, yeah, the fact that this team that all season has been led by starting pitching, defense, base running, and 3 of the most clutch bats in all of Major League Baseball. That alone in April, May, and June we thought would be enough to get this team into competitive games into September and hopefully into October, let alone throw on top of that an upper echelon bullpen. That, along with a big bat of Michael Massey. We'll see what Hunter Renfroe can do today. Suddenly now you're talking about one of maybe not the most well-rounded team, but like we've talked about all year, there is no great team. Every team has a flaw, and if you're telling me the Royals' flaw is 2/3 of their lineup, but their bullpen's good, their rotation's good, their defense is good, their team speed is good, the middle of their lineup is good, yeah, you'll stack that squad up against anybody.
I think one thing that stood out, again, for the pitching yesterday, it stood out on its own right, Vern, but going into postseason games, there's always the big unknown with a team like the Royals where Reagan's never pitched in the playoffs. Urseg Bubic, Long. These guys have never played in that moment. In a 1-0 game, in a postseason game in which they know the stats the same as we do, win this game, and in the wild card round right now, the teams are 8-0 and advancing in that over the last 2 years. The fact that none of them had pitched in the bullpen, or pitched in the postseason, and pitched like that is what stood out to me. I know Reagins is good, but pitching in the postseason is different.
Right, and there were so many battles, right? It's not as if those 8 punch-outs that he put together, it was boom, 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 go sit down. No, it's 6, 7, 8 pitch battles. 9 with Ryan Mountcastle to finish off his 6th inning of work. Reagins just refused to give in yesterday. It was a joy to watch him. Salvi comes up big with Lucas Ursek there in the 9th inning, but man, when your changeups bouncing between 92, 93, and guys are looking lost on it because they're sitting triple digits, I come away really impressed with Urseg, really impressed with Cole Reagins, really impressed with Maikel Garcia as well in his first playoff game. That was a very composed 8-pitch walk that he drew with 1 out there in the 6th inning. Michael Massey not trying to do anything more than what is requested on the scoreboard, right? Man in scoring position, 1 out. At worst, get that guy to third base. Michael Massey executes, and then Bobby Witt Jr., his first ever big league game, he hits the game-winning RBI, and now his first ever postseason game, he comes through with the game-winning RBI. Very Derek Jeter-esque, where every big moment that Jeter seemed to find himself in,
that's Cody's favorite
it was storybook, right? 3,000 hits, it's a home run. His final at-bat at Yankee Stadium, it's big. His first postseason, he's hitting bombs left and right. Bobby Witt Jr.'s storybook start to his career just obviously continues yesterday.
Were you surprised they pitched to him, Vern?
No, I wasn't. But as time went on, I guess I became more surprised that they didn't. I understand Brandon Hyde leaving it to Corbin Burns, or at least I understand his explanation after the game, right? Burns is pitching his tail off. He knows what to do out there. Don't give Bobby anything to hit. He gave him something to hit, and he paid for it. Now, am I going to lay blame at the feet of Brandon Hyde that his team lost 1-0? I can't do that. I got to give credit to Bobby for executing. But at the same time, I do understand those that are saying, someone's got to be the adult in the room. And you can't expect 2 lions that are growling at each other to understand, we probably shouldn't do this. No, they're going to fight. They're going to go at it. They want to compete. And there needed to be an adult in the room to go, no, Lions. No, I don't want you to face this behemoth. How about you take down this line over here that can't feel his thumb right now?
I think that's it. If it's like any other time of the game, that's what Alex and I were talking about. Any other time of the season, we're probably having a different conversation. But because the guy had taken a month off with a broken thumb, I mean, the moment kind of dictates the action, I feel like, at that point.
Yeah. But, again, I understand the skipper not putting the 4 fingers up, believing that his 4-time All-Star right-hander, the former Cy Young Award winner, would understand that cutter can't be on the outer third. It needs to be off the plate, and you want him chasing. And he failed to execute. Bobby did execute, and really that to me is what yesterday's game was about, because the Orioles had opportunities, right? A leadoff double in the third, a man on second with 1 out in the 5th inning that should have scored on Cedric Mullins' single to center, but poor base running by Baltimore picks up MJ Melendez, who showcased some poor defense yesterday in left field. But it comes down to the little things. It comes down to execution, and the Royals executed better than Baltimore.
Thinking of just managing a game, knowing today it's do or die for the Orioles, but it's also a chance for the Royals to clinch and not have to get to a Game 3. How do you think maybe late in this game, let's say the Royals do have a lead, how do you think Hugh could change how he manages, if at all, based on the balance of there could be a Game 3, but also if you've got a chance to actually end this thing, does he push Urseg and you got multiple outs yesterday?
Yes.
Do you think he's willing to go 4 or 5 more outs today if that's what's necessary?
For sure.
Okay.
Without question, and then again tomorrow. Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's, to me, the most interesting thing about this game today is that killer instinct, that Patrick Mahomes-like killer instinct, the instinct that I think that 2014 team adopted in Anaheim with those 2 walk-off home runs where they understood, man, you can't blink in these games because when you do, you're going to pay for it. That's what happened in those first 2 contests back in 2014. Anaheim blinked and the Royals pounced. You can't let up for a second. That's what the greats have done for years, and that's what if the Royals want to be a great team, you got to finish this team off. Don't get it done today. You got the horse, you got the advantage up and down. Really the tail of the tape heading into today. I know it's in their yard, but like we mentioned, man, it could feel like a home game real quick.
We mentioned some of the numbers for Hunter Renfroe off the Orioles pitcher today. Are you surprised the one change, just Tommy Pham flipping him with Hunter Renfroe today?
No. I honestly, yesterday I was somewhat surprised that they didn't have Paul DeJong in the lineup because of his ability to change the game with one swing. He had good numbers against Corbin Burns. He has good numbers again today against Zach Eflin, and he once again sees a day out of the lineup. So Q riding with the guys that, for the most part, got him here, and the things that got him here, pitching, defense, and team speed, and there's no doubt about it. The arm of Hunter Renfroe, to me, makes up for whatever slight speed advantage Tommy Pham brings out there in right.
Vern, too early based on Venezuelan Winter League and one playoff game to just assume Maikel Garcia's a gamer? Like, he had bad 60 days, man. He's been bad August and September. He gets into one playoff game.
Year.
He finds himself on base. He gets himself to second base. He scores the winning run. Some guys are just meant for bigger playoff moments, and it certainly felt like maybe he was just waiting for this to come alive.
Well, stop doing that if you want to remain a big leaguer. Don't wait 6 months. But yeah. And to me, Maikel's been that guy, a guy that enjoys the spotlight, enjoys the attention, enjoys the big crowd. But he's got to do it again, right? Nice day all around for Maikel, but I'm not going to make too much out of it, right? Eske had a nice game and then kept having nice games, and now he's a Royals Hall of Famer. It was, a very composed plate appearance there in the 6th, steals another bag in the 9th, plays a good third base. He's a good player. It just seems as if the focus wanders at times, and I know he beats himself up more than anybody else. If he can just keep a positive voice in his head, sky's the limit because he has all the talent in the world.
Vern, we're here at Jefferson's in Lenexa to watch the game again today. I've said I'll buy $1 Royals rally shots if Vinny hits a home run. You want to commit to $10 if something happens?
Yes.
Vinny home run, or you want something else?
I'll say Salvi, because I'm going to bet this anyway. So let's just go. Well, no, because then if I win my money, then I'm just giving it all away.
Yeah, it's more fun. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I don't want it to be the bet. You know what? I'll just piggyback off of you. Vinny, man, what a teammate. What a warrior. Yeah, I'll put another 10 on it.
Then we got 20.
I was going to say, Vern, we'll have to have a rally shot for you. You were very much missed at the watch party. There were multiple people that came up to us, people that were screaming to the
wanting
boss.
to fight me.
Wanting to fight you, that you were not here. So I just want to let you know that's how much you're loved in this city, you know?
Yeah, well, that's because they won. Let them lose today, and they'll be running me out of town as soon as they can.
There you go. That's Josh Vernier, our Royals Insider, his On Deck show coming up 2 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan. He'll join us tomorrow on the show no matter what happens today, whether we're talking about heading to an ALDS or we're talking about a stressful Game 3 that could happen tomorrow
Again, I
afternoon.
don't want that.
Nope,
it's already
nobody
causing
wants,
me stress just thinking about it.
Of course nobody wants that, but boy, oh boy, you want to talk about stressful situations. That's tomorrow if it actually gets to that.
I think Vern's right, though. Royals go score 2 in the first, 2 in the second. They take an early lead, and that building, including the players on the Orioles bench, it's going to go dead, quiet. It's going to feel flat in a hurry. You already lost the first game. If you slip up and give up an early lead today to the Royals, and you know that they got Seth Lugo on the mound, one of the better starters in the American League this year, an all-star, you are going to feel so drained and hopeless in that building if the Royals get an early lead.
Yeah, especially knowing that
you.
Seth Lugo you're going up against. Cole Reagan, because of what Cole Reagins was able to do, if Seth Lugo is able to be anywhere near as dominant as Cole Reagins is, good luck if you're the Orioles to get. We know the there is not another Corbin Burns or anywhere close to that on that Orioles pitching staff. The drop-off from Reagins to Lugo is not nearly the same drop-off from Burns to Eflin. It's just that's not the same drop-off. It's much greater for the Orioles. So
significantly,
if the Royals can get up early, I'm 100% with you. Not to mention just the natural, like even as a player, I'm sure you start to press a little bit even more, which would be a good thing for the Royals today if the Orioles start to feel that way. But let's go ahead and get to the random question of the day.
Random question.
Any more pillow talk questions?
No,
yesterday,
no.
Your question came from Pillow Talk.
No pillow talk today.
Okay.
For you, Alex, for you, Drew, over on the text line, 913-586-7965. We live stream the show over on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. Please like and subscribe us over there if you want to continue to see our mugs during the Royals run. Well, our figurines today. We'll be back on regular video tomorrow, we think. So, if you want to watch the video, typically we'll be in studio. You can see us there. No, the question I have for you today is a different conversation I was having with someone else, not my wife and not late at night, which is it's a Back to the Future scenario, and I'm giving you 24 hours notice. 24 hours. The Royals are going to win 24 hours from now. This is a Biff situation from Back to the Future 2. You know the future of sports. How much money do you think you could get your hands on in 24 hours if you tried from any possible source?
To guarantee a win?
It's a guaranteed win. No doubt. You don't know it's a doubt. You are just borrowing, stealing, taking from loan sharks. I don't care who you're taking. I don't care if you're emptying out your 401k. You were taking it. If you can get that done in a day, I don't think
that's
you can.
the challenge. Is I don't know
how much money do you think you could get in a day? 24 hours.
Yeah, because I don't think you can say. People always use the 401k as an example, and this one doesn't work. You cannot get that transfer out of your Vanguard or whatever
in 24 hours. I don't think so.
No, it doesn't work that way. By the time it sells, et cetera. Anyway, so no. I think realistically, 24 hours. Assuming you don't even have to worry about convincing them that is the result, assuming they believe you that they're guaranteed to win, I don't know, 15, 20K max in 24 hours.
Okay.
Anybody's saying $1 million, no, you can't. You can't
and
get
I'll just
$1
be
million
honest, and if you're, let's just say, we've all got a rich in-law or sibling or whatever's got more money than you.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the fact that you're going to have to convince them that you for sure know. Do you think they're going to believe you? Just because
That's the
you
issue,
know.
Man. I know.
Do you think that my brother's just going to give me $20K because I'm like, come on, dude, trust me. I'm telling you. There is no doubt. I think I could probably get 10. I think all I could get my hands on is $10,000. I can't go through any loan process. I can't be sure of that. I don't think I can sell a car in that amount of time or a kidney. There's only so much you can do in a 24-hour time period. I think I could get my hand on maybe 10, 15K. I don't think it's more than that. Someone was telling me they thought they could get $250,000, $500,000.
How?
And unless you've got that liquid,
that's what I'm saying.
Where you could
I guess if you went to a car dealership and you just said, I want to sell this car, you could probably get a cashier's check right then and there fairly quickly. And so I guess that would be the way you would get your money. But then you'd still have to go buy the car, I guess, again, because you would, that's the problem.
but if it's a guaranteed win, I might take the chance.
Yeah, but the car's not, okay, your car, let's say you're getting.
How much do I lose
Let's say
on the
you're
car?
getting $40,000 on the car. You're not. It's not like your car's not $100,000.
But the more I can get, because if I can only get my hands on 10K, it's not worth selling the car.
Correct.
Because then essentially I'm just kind of breaking even
That's
on
what
the
I'm saying.
scenario.
That's
Not
what I'm
really,
saying.
but if I can get my hand on 100K and that includes selling my car, well
so
then.
it says my boss is a millionaire. I'm in. 100% sure thing. Their boss is a million.
But you got to convince your boss that it's a sure thing.
Here's the other. I know we're getting way too into specifics, and we're taking a fun question and making it too specific.
Make it too real.
But also. None of the sports books, FanDuel, et cetera, are taking $1 million bet from you. So the individual that says that you can get $1 million, you can't walk in a Hollywood casino. They're not taking your $1 million.
No,
bet.
but they've taken $100,000 bets from Cheeseaholics.
They're not taking $1 million.
They'll take $100,000.
I don't think they're taking $1 million bet. Most places won't.
I'd spread it around. I mean, I'd go to as many casinos as let me for a while there. Unfortunately, in this town, I can only make so big a bet.
Somebody said their wife's grandma is 93 and has several million in the bank. I'm going straight there.
I guess the question is, what can I get on a cash advance on a credit card? If I know I'm paying it back the next day, I imagine
some of them let you. Some of them let you get up to the limit. Some of them only let you get part of the limit on cash advance.
On my HELOC or whatever, I can just be whatever the maximum is on that.
But can you get that money in 24 hours? I don't think so.
Tough. And part of this is the conversation. In this scenario, only you know, right? Only you know.
How about this? This is a real scenario right here. 816. Someone says they actually happened to a friend of mine. They had a parlay that could win $245,000. He wanted a hedge. and his grandpa, who's a multimillionaire, could only withdraw $50,000 a day at the bank. So
really? How can the bank tell me how much of my money I can take? It's my money.
Probably a whole different conversation. Yeah.
This is my money. You can't tell me how much of I can have today. I want it all.
Cody, just out of curiosity, this is adding another layer. Is there a specific bet? Is this, for instance, this is like the Royals win the World Series, and you can go ahead and bet it. That's 17-1. I was going to say, do you know it's a long shot, or like what is this? Because I think
in this scenario, it's just like a it's like a plus 110.
Okay.
The number I'm giving you, it's a win, but you're only really doubling your money.
Yeah, the $50,000 day thing that goes back to the whole run on the banks and FDIC insurance up to a certain amount and things like that. The whole.
But there isn't a run on the bank, why can't I just have my money?
I don't
know.
Yeah,
but an active run on the bank.
They're not going to
have my $100K.
Yeah, but they're not. Well, $100K, but they're not going to just. They're probably not just going to give you $500,000 in cash right there. You work at the bank. You tell me, Mr. Bank Teller.
I'm giving people a lot of cash.
$500,000?
No.
Yeah.
Our whole vault probably had like $1 million in it. I think one. I had to count it every once.
They don't
maybe
have
900.
They don't have Yes, you're right. If there was, let's say, there were 20 people that all had $500,000 in the bank account, all 20 of those people could not go to that one branch and get their same cash that day.
Somebody said most banks would be hard to get 5 or 10,000. And look, banking has probably changed from when I did it pre-pandemic. And probably even more so, even more online banking. My drawer limit when I worked at a bank was $100,000. I was personally responsible for $100,000. So you can't tell me that you couldn't just in the time I was doing it, I could technically give someone $50,000.
I don't know if I'd be able to get money from my parents for this because I think.
I'd go to a payday loan place and see how much they give me. I'd go to as many payday loan places and take my business.
That's doing too much.
That's terrible.
That's doing too much? If it's 100% lock? Dude, I go to all kinds of stuff like that. I'd be selling furniture on Facebook Marketplace.
Here's what's funny about that last comment. That last comment was really funny to me for a couple reasons. Two things. Number one, because we bought an Amazon pallet or a box. Cody wanted to buy a pallet. I said no because we won't ever sell it. We have a box that's a year old with stuff that we wasted money on that you have not resold. That was the deal, and I told you this was going to happen, and you haven't sold it. The other reason why I laughed is because Drew sold a couch for $100. And never.
By the way,
he actually eventually got his money.
He gave someone $100 to get his own.
Somebody from the text line yesterday, I have to shout them out. Yesterday for the random question, the IQ score that I would have is much lower because of that reason. I think I'm definitely not smarter than a lot of the population.
They said you got scammed for $100.
Someone wants to bid on the Apple Pen if we still have that from our box.
I do. It's all yours. How much?
We need some money for the show fund. I think it's time you start selling it.
$30?
Next remote we do, you should just bring the box. Cash only. Cash only. Bring your best offer. Cash only.
I'll take Venmo. I don't care.
Cash only or Venmo.
Transfer it over.
Uh-huh.
I'll just bring the box of stuff.
That's right.
Fine. Apple Pen's still available.
That's the random question of the day. We are broadcasting live here at Jefferson's in Lenexa ahead of the Royals wildcard game this afternoon. Everybody from the station's going to be out here watching the game. They've got $1 rally shots, $3 Royal Blue refreshers, $12 Miller Coors buckets. Plus, I'm definitely going to get some wings here once we hop off the air 1 hour from now. Might have to switch it up. Went with a little honey barbecue yesterday and some fries. I don't know. Might have to change it up.
I go mango habaneros sometimes.
Okay.
Double dips.
I think Mac was a teriyaki guy. Mac was a teriyaki guy on the wings yesterday, I think. We'll take a look at the old menu coming up during the break. But up next, we get back into the Chiefs briefly with some more news out there on potential trade targets, and then right back to what is at stake today for the Royals and the O's.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at bluekc.com.
Hey, it's Bob Fesco, and I'm here with my friend Brian Manning of Manning Roofing. Why is it important to deal with a roofing company that understands the insurance side of the business?
First of all, you want to make sure that you get all of the damage covered at your property. We have a very experienced team that's licensed and insured. We do roofs, windows, siding, and gutters, along with some interior trades, and we can make sure that all of the damage is taken care of.
I've used Manning Roofing at my house, so set up your appointment today at manninggc.com or 816-448-8208. The choice is simple. It's Manning Roofing.
The Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and our 2 soccer teams, the Current and St. Louis City SC, are all endorsing Amendment 2. Here's why you should support it too. Right now, Missouri sports fans are taking their money and placing their bets in Kansas and Illinois. We're losing our money to other states, money that could be invested in our schools. Amendment 2 fixes that. By legalizing sports betting, Amendment 2 will generate over $100 million for Missouri schools over the next 5 years. And there's a strong constitutional guarantee ensuring the revenue from sports betting will go to education. Kansas and Illinois know sports betting is a winner for their fans and taxpayers. It's time for Missouri to get into the game. Amendment 2 means over $100 million for Missouri schools. Join the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, Current, and St. Louis City SC in supporting Amendment 2. Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
When you have an expert financial partner invested in you, you can't help but feel like a star. Like the new graduate opening their first investment account, the small business owner proudly adding a new location, or the young couple buying their first home. At Community America, we're invested in helping members achieve financial peace of mind with products and services tailored to each stage of life. Member-owned, open to all. Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
This year, FanDuel is giving you a chance to win big every Thursday night with FanDuel Squares. It's the same Super Bowl Squares game you've always known, only way better. That's because your numbers aren't just randomly assigned. You get to pick them yourself. You can pick as many as you like. You'll get to see the odds beforehand, and you can bet them live during the game. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/Alex and bet on Squares. Plus, if you're new to FanDuel, you can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Are you in need of top-quality metal for your next project? Look no further than Metal by the Foot. Whether you're a DIY enthusiast, contractor, or business owner, Metal by the Foot has the perfect solution for you. Steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless. The Foot. Blue Demon Welding Supplies, filler rods, and wire. The Foot. Bronius Professional Welding Equipment, service and repairs. The Foot. Located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Outback presents Andrew Santino, Free Speech Tour, Saturday, October 5th at the Midland Theater.
She was a single mother. She would let us steal. She'd be like, take it, take it. When we get caught, she'd be like, Andrew, get over here. And then we'd get out of earshot, and she'd be like, you got to hide it better, buddy. You know that. Remember dinosaurs? Pretty good thing they're not around anymore. Dude, leave the show tonight. You'd be like, fun show. Yeah, we had a good time. All right, goodbye. Go, 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 go.
Get in! Get in! Tickets on sale now at AXS.com.
Pizza just goes better with Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Pizza. Thank you.
But don't take our word for it. In fact, don't take any words for it. Crispy and cheesy, paired with delicious and refreshing. My mouth is watering already. Ooh, too high. Yeah, we've all been there. Every bite is better with Pepsi.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1, and literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Vern's On Deck Show starts at 2. First pitch just after 3:30. All right here on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM. HD1 and HD2. Kansas City. An Odyssey Sports Station.
Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. And he got him with a breaking ball down and away. And in 5 innings, Cole Reagins has not allowed a run. And he's pitched around a leadoff double. And in this inning, first and third and 1 out. And he picks up Melendez.
Ryan Lefevre on the call right here on 96.5 The Fan yesterday as the Royals grabbed Game 1 of this best-of-3 series in Baltimore. 3:38 first pitch today. Vern's On Deck Show at 2 o'clock. Again, we're out here in Lenexa at Jefferson's, broadcasting live till 2, and then just hanging out, watching some Royals baseball. We had a great crowd yesterday. If you didn't see on our social media, you could see how quiet it was right on before that final pitch from Urseg, and then ultimately, of course, the place went nuts, both the bar area and over here in the corner. So come on out.
I saw you high-fiving.
Yeah, man, we had a good time. We had a good group yesterday.
I'm not a big
really
public high-fiver, but I'm not anti it, you know.
Yeah, everybody was high-fiving, feeling good. It brought back some great memories from 14 and 15, and that's what playoff baseball does, man. It does. And some of you were asking about T-shirts, I believe, during the watch party. If you're here during the watch party, we're supposed to have some shirts. That's what I was told by those higher up than me. So
you know what? If not, I have some
retro shirts.
I have some Cody Gold shirts in the car.
Okay.
Remember when we brought all those shirts out to the K earlier this year for the sports equipment drive? I had put them back in my car to put them in our office at work. They're in the back of my car.
Okay.
So how about we'll promise some kind of shirt no matter what? Cody Gold or 96.5 The Fan.
Yeah, for the first however many people.
I don't know how many are in there, but I'll have some shirts.
Yes.
Okay, just come and hang out and have some beers. And if Vinny hits a home run, there'll be $20, 20 Royals rally shots floating around this bar, okay?
There we go.
Vern and I got you covered. You want in for 10 too? We can just make it an even 30.
I will go in if Vinny hits a home run. I'll also throw in another 10 rally shots.
30 rally shots. Woo! Woo! Bar's going to be feeling good if Vinny hits a homer
Vinny's
today.
650 to that homer today. 0 for yesterday.
Yep.
Maybe he gets the timing
but
back.
He made contact quite a bit. I mean, it didn't look like he was lost up there. He just didn't get a hit. Because that's the key. I didn't want him to look lost after all that time.
This is a great text, and it's true. They said, I mentioned how I was high-fiving people yesterday, and you said, I saw you were high-fiving people. You said you're not a big public high-fiver, someone says, as opposed to a private high-fiver?
Maybe just not a big open display of emotion.
Who are you high-fiving in private?
You and I have watched sporting events together.
Huh?
I am not the loudest sports viewer. I'm not the yeah! I'm just generally, that's not.
You're
I've
more
never done
reserved
that.
during
I tend to be
yeah.
more reserved. More of the silent fist bump type, you know? I tend to be a little, you know, that might surprise you based on the personality traits I display at almost any other time in my life. But that's just, you know, that's how I celebrate. What can I say?
So anyway, we're going to have a great time later on today at Jefferson's in Lenexa. We'll get right back to the Royals here in 5 minutes or so. But today, outside of baseball, the news continues to be around Devontae Adams and where he potentially could end up. Now that it's pretty certain, I think, that, you know, the Raiders are willing to trade him. He's
gotta go.
He's done. He's done with Las Vegas. He wasn't happy when they when they got rid of Derek Carr a year ago anyway, you know, after his buddy from college and Fresno State days and everything. And so naturally, anytime a wide receiver is available or anything, the Chiefs are going to come up, and Chiefs fans are going to point at that receiver because Rashee Rice's injury. But yeah, Jordan Schultz, Adam Schefter have both acknowledged
It ain't happening.
One, it's unlikely because of division, and then the other part is just their sources, which may be within the Chiefs organization, are saying that they're not a likely destination. We went through the financials earlier in the show. Yeah, for this year, because you're going to get through half the year by the time the trade deadline happens. Yeah, for this year, could you make another move, restructure to make room for this year? Possibly. But he's got a $15.7 million dead cap next year if you cut him. So you're
45 if you pay
$44 million the next two after that when he's 33, 34. So it just does not make sense for the Chiefs. I'm with you. They need to go eventually before the deadline and acquire another wide receiver, given the receiver room. But that might be a Adam Thielen, Deontay Johnson, a Darius Slayton, Amari Cooper, best-case scenario type of stuff. DeAndre Hopkins, let him go to the Jets. Let him go to the Commanders. Let him go to the Saints. I don't care.
I'm only 50% sure he's actually going to get traded. And you're like, well, how could that be? They're saying they're willing to trade him, and he's saying he wants out. The financials make him such an unattractive player. The Saints just, and I mean just, got themselves out of a complete financial pretzel over the last couple of years in which they were up against it. And now they're going to take on a player and eat $15 million in dead cap or pay him $44 million next year to play wide receiver? Hell no. So unless he's willing to take a pay cut, which nothing about Devontae Adams' career suggests that that's something that's on the table, there are only maybe one or two teams that could do it. The Jets would be the team that makes the most sense, not because of the Aaron Rodgers thing, but because look at the situation the Jets are in. Bankrupting yourself if you're the Jets doesn't actually hurt you. Why? Because you're starting over the second Aaron Rodgers gets out of the league anyway.
They're all
You
in.
are so all in. You have no – the Saints have some good young players. Chris Olave, Kamara's shown some second life. You know, Derek Carr's still got some years left on his deal. Like, they have a good young defense. Like, they actually have some players that are playing well, under control. Like, they could say, you know what, we could build off of this and get somewhere a little bit. The Jets are just in. I know they have good young players, too, in Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, but they're just in it because of their quarterback situation.
Well, their head
If that's the case, just sell yourself.
And their head coach and GM. It's not just like the Chiefs are all in, too, because they're going for a three-peat. But the Jets are all in for different reasons. They're all in because, yeah, their quarterback is old
41,
and coming off an injury. Their head coach, Robert Saleh, I mean, it's pretty simple. If they don't make the playoffs or win a game or two, he's gone. Their general manager, Joe Douglas, right? He same kind of boat. Like, so that they're all in for their truly job security is on the line there in New York. And that's probably why it's a little bit different there. Not to mention Aaron Rodgers, I still think is basically running that team anyway. Let's be real. He is in charge. If he wants something to happen, they will make it happen for him. He runs that damn thing at this point. Whereas, the New Orleans Saints, yeah, I'm with you. I think that Derek Carr angles why the Saints come up because he likes Derek Carr. Devontae Adams does. They're in a division that is winnable. Nobody, I don't think, even the Bucs, I don't think anybody's winning 12, 13 games in that division. To me, it's another 10 or 11 max type of wins the NFC South. Nobody's going to run away with it. So we'll see. I mean, the trade deadline got pushed back a week. I don't think Devontae Adams is getting traded tomorrow. Do you? I think this could take a couple more days or weeks.
This is the same thing. I think we always make it seem like there's teams who don't want to sell. Teams don't also buy this early either because it's cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
And in the NFL, you might be 3-1 now and think you're really good, and then 3 weeks from now you might be 3-4. Do you really want to give up a second-round pick because they're asking for it? And also, I don't know why teams or people haven't figured this out yet, but if you are asking, if you publicly make it known via sources that you want a second-round pick, I know you'll take less. You've already too late.
Yeah.
You should say I want 4 firsts because the truth is the second it's out there publicly that they would like a second-round pick, then you'd take a 4th. You'd take a 5th it could turn into a 4th. Don't lie to me. The Chiefs also wanted a second for L'Jarius Sneed,
Yeah, you never get as much as you think.
Whatever it was.
For players, veteran players in the league, you just never get the compensation you actually think you're going to get at all. It just doesn't work out that way,
No, it's incredibly rare that would be the case, and I would say that that'll continue over the course of this time. I think what you have to probably come accept, and what we'll have a couple of weeks to kind of dive into, because this is going to remain a storyline, and we'll find out the teams who are willing to trade as time goes on. Whatever you have your sights set on, I'd say Amari Cooper's maybe on the list because he's so cheap. I wouldn't rule out him. I think he's the best available wide receiver the Chiefs could actually get. Truthfully, I think you better set your sights on a D-Rob level of player. It doesn't mean it is DeMarcus Robinson, but if you're thinking what the Chiefs are going to actually acquire, what they're going to actually trade for at the trade deadline, I'd be putting your hopes on that. And look, I don't know, maybe by some miracle, the reports from Nick Wright yesterday or all these other people that are hinting at the Chiefs think maybe it's not a torn ACL for Rasheed. You can pin your hopes on that if you want. Another reason why the Chiefs don't have to rush just yet. At this point, you and I have continued to, and I will until the news is good, operating under the idea that Rashee Rice is not available to the Chiefs this season. I'm actually kind of operating that way on Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, and maybe even Isaiah Pacheco. I'll count on those players being available and being useful to this organization when it seems like they're a whole hell of a lot closer to coming back than they are now. Would you agree with that at least?
The Isaiah Pacheco one, that one less concerned. One, because I do think he's coming back, but also Kareem Hunt's performance gave me a little more hope that, okay, if it ends up being a week longer, not quite as worrisome. But, yeah, I mean, for the wide receivers, you have to just assume they're not playing this year again for you. Running back, I think Isaiah Pacheco actually will be back. But Kareem Hunt's 1 week performance gave me some confidence. And, look, Clyde might be coming back, too. So I'm not as worried about that spot.
You're not, well, I mean, yeah, running back, but still, Pacheco's better than both of those guys.
Well, of course, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, you're asking, you look at the way the offense operates, and what's easier to make up, the loss of Pacheco or the loss of Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown? And if Kareem Hunt looks like he did in Week 4 of the season, and now can bring it into Week 5.
Yeah, I'm not here to try to argue the other side of that. You are correct. And that what's easier to replace offensively, and that'd be the case. But that also comes back around to what, the thing you just said about the offensive line to Ross Tucker earlier. If you missed that interview, it's up at 965thefan.com. But, if you the way that they're playing behind the offensive line right now, I think is causing people enough concerns that Mahomes doesn't seem real comfortable in it. So we're going to have to keep an eye out on that today. Today's Royals game is fascinating for a variety of reasons. One of which is something you had pointed out to me that we did not mention at all in the lead-up to the game. We talked about who has the starting pitching advantage, who has the bullpen advantage, who has the offense advantage. Managerial advantage? This is not the dunce versus the chess master.
Oh, yeah, that headline was so good.
By any degree. But I kind of nothing the manager situation in this matchup going into it. But after one game, one guy seems to have a very firm grasp of his roster, and the other guy doesn't.
Brandon Hyde, manager of the Orioles, really didn't mention his name coming in, to this series. And I understand it's one game and they lost 1-0, and so it's hard.
So they do a lot of wrong things, sure.
Correct. But usually in the playoffs, it's very easy to shift the blame, but also one move. You look like a genius if it works. If not, everybody does call you the dunce or whatever, right? So yesterday, Matt Quatrero, at one point pulls out Cole Reagins. Now, it turned out it was from injury, so people were ready to jump on that, but it was an injury, so that's fine. But then even later, people thought maybe they left Bubic in a batter too much before bringing in Urseg. It ended up working out, though, right? Urseg was still able to get the outs required to get it done. So he looks smart, and how they did that versus Brandon Hyde doesn't walk Bobby Witt Jr. He lets his pitcher decide. Bobby comes up with a solid base hit, only run of the game. They get Ryan O'Hearn on base. They decide not to pinch run for him because the way their roster is constructed for this series, they don't really have a whole lot of pinch runner opportunities. So that's on the front office as much as anything. I don't think Brandon Hyde was like, oh my gosh, what a terrible manager. That would be silly. Although I know in Baltimore, whether it's via
they were really down on
some radio out there, our Odyssey sister station, I think the fan out there as well. Some of the callers, as you would suspect, are blaming it on him and couldn't believe it. I was surprised they didn't walk Bobby Witt Jr., but I also don't think it was like, oh my gosh, the worst managerial decision I've ever seen.
No, but it also was a questionable decision because of the Vinnie thing. And I'm never going to go back and not think of it because of that.
Sure.
If this were game 111 and Vinny is a 100 RBI guy and Bobby's a 100 RBI guy and Salvi's a 100 RBI guy, hard to walk Bobby in that situation. Get one out and you run yourself out of trouble. Walk Bobby and you might make the problem worse. One ball to the gap from Vinny and this turns from 1 run to 2 and you have your ace in the hole, your number one pitcher up against Bobby Witt Jr. He beat him, man. I mean, it comes down probably more to that than why did they pitch to him. I wouldn't have pitched to him because Vinny wasn't game 111 Vinny. He was taking a full month off from a broken thumb, so I probably would have risked it. And if he had gone 3 for 3 up to that moment, maybe same thing. I pitched to Bobby, but he was 0 for 3 up to that point, or 0 for 2, I probably handle those things a little bit different.
But Q in his first postseason game got to feel good about overall just how that game was managed in a tightly contested game. It also helps when your starter is rolling the way he did. It gets a lot more complicated when your starter doesn't have it, and you have to make the decision in a 3-run game. Do I pull him 4 to third? Do I? That's when it gets trickier.
Yeah, it's harder for them tonight than it is for the Royals. The Royals can let Lugo stretch a little bit because they have the win. Yeah. They have game one. Now, if it goes the other way, I guess if the Royals lose 1-0 today, what's your confidence level they're taking game 3?
Yeah, I mean,
pitching matchup again favors them even more in game 3, but now the momentum back in the Orioles' favor, and the offense still doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, if it was against this pitcher today, if the offense only musters 4 or 5 hits, then I think you're nervous because you know that it's going to have to be in the margin of error. But the Royals do have the pitching matchup favored in their favor the rest of the way. So that's always October baseball. You always take pitching over the hitting. Yesterday's the prime example of why always. And this is why I think looking ahead, you think about the Yankees. Like, I don't know about their pitching as much. We know they can score in the regular season, but how many times have the Bronx Bombers gone cold in October? And so I'm always going to take the pitching. And right now the Royals have the rotation going and the bullpen going, which gives you a great chance to win. They were underdogs yesterday. The Royals are underdogs again today. And if it did get to a game 3, I'm sure they will be underdogs tomorrow. So, and they will be underdogs throughout this entire postseason. That's just the reality of it.
I went ahead and looked it up, although I'm offended by this story. I was like, all right, what are the prognosticators suggesting for what will the postseason rotation be for the Yankees in the ALDS? I'm not trying to look too far ahead. Again, we get to do that. The players can't. Slightly different scenario. But first off, the headline said, what the potential Yankees rotation will look like against the Orioles. Excuse me? This was written like a week ago, or like 3 days ago. I'm like, excuse me?
What paper? Who wrote it, though?
The NorthJersey.com, and I don't care.
Because it's East Coast.
Jerks. Just dismissing the Royals' chances. Garrett Cole would go game 1. Carlos Rodon would go game 2. And then the righty Clark Schmidt would go game 3. Maybe Marcus Stroman, maybe Lewis Gill. But, yeah, they don't run 3 deep. We talked about this going into the whole postseason run. Yesterday only reassured my belief that the Royals are capable of a deep postseason run. Is it still the thing I would predict? Maybe not. But the Royals are capable of a deep postseason run because they won a game yesterday exactly the way I would expect them to win. They dominated in the pitching staff. They used the only 3 relievers I think they have truly high trust in. And their best player, Bobby Witt Jr., came through in the most pivotal moment. That's it. I mean, that's not like unrepeatable. That is the exact way they won a lot of games all year. So, like, okay, great. That's how they're supposed to win. They didn't win 10. In a weird way, I'd feel less good about this game had they won 10-9. I'd be like, well, this is no way to go about life. This is not how you win baseball games. What the hell are you doing?
I disagree a little bit because then I would have more.
You won in a different way?
I would have more confidence that the offense is back. And I would say, it was a bad outing from Reagins, but they got Lugo today. That's what I would have been saying.
Sure.
Versus in this one, yeah, I feel great about starting pitching in the bullpen, but you said it 2 minutes ago, which is the margin of error is still so small because right now with the Royals offense, and the Orioles are saying the same thing on their side, if you give up 2 runs, I don't know how great you're feeling.
One MJ Molina's mistake yesterday almost cost him the baseball game. I mean, truthfully, it almost cost him the baseball game. And one high decision, right, one base running decision, right, by the Orioles did cost them the game. That is how
holding the runner at third.
But, like, the Royals' margin has been pretty razor thin a good chunk of this year. When you were a team built on your starting pitching who has a league average offense and, at that time, an implodable bullpen, well, then your margin was always smaller. I actually think their margin is widened a little bit if their offense can find some validation because the bullpen is so much better today than it was 2 months ago. It's not close. Before Bubic ended up in here and before they knew they had something in Sam Long, all of those things, the bullpen is so much better. And they could still use Singer out of there. They got other choices that they're not even, like, dipping their toe in the water of yet, Gold. So that changes the entire calculus, too. Because Brady Singer might very well end up being in the bullpen next time around, too, because look at the off days. They wouldn't necessarily need Brady Singer the next time through. They could go Walker, Reagins, Lugo, Walker again based on the days off if they got to a game 4 against the Yankees. Again, I know this is looking ahead, but That's why this game's kind of important.
Yeah, just like last Friday. Get it done last Friday. They did. That's why they were able to have Reagins available today. You get it done today. You have Waka available on Saturday night in the Bronx. So, yeah, I mean, it's not looking ahead as much as, like, the benefit of getting this thing done today, other than just the obvious, which is
you win.
Clinch when you can clinch, man, and get it done. And why even leave it up to chance in a Game 3 and let any momentum get back to Baltimore? Right now, the Royals have all the momentum in this series. You can lose that. If you lose today,
just lose in any fashion, really.
Yeah, and I some people are like, oh, momentum is not a real thing. I absolutely, we all saw it in 14 here in Kansas City. Momentum absolutely is a real thing.
That's my whole problem is that if I don't think anyone, maybe somebody just hasn't had that experience from maybe nobody's gotten to experience that from their own sports team perspective. There is no way anyone in this town who watched, specifically as you said in 14. Not a soul who watched this team in 14 does not believe in momentum existing. I'm sorry. That was an average baseball team. For a huge chunk of the year, they were looking to fire coaches, fire players, turn it all over, restart, get rid of Dayton. They wanted everything out in 2014. And they were down runs, bunches of runs in a wild card game in a do-or-die situation. They managed to scratch out a win, and they did not lose again for another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Momentum is a real thing.
It is. The other thing I don't know if we've talked a lot about in this series, and this is why we were all nervous in the ninth inning when Ryan O'Hearn was up or whatever.
Oh, damn it.
But the Orioles, did you know, this is from Sports Radar. I just saw this come across, but it's relevant to the conversation. The Orioles, nearly half of their runs this year were all from home runs. So, like, preventing the long ball. But
there's only one yesterday that was a sweat.
They're not stringing. There's not an Orioles team is not usually stringing a bunch of hits together to keep the line moving. That's not how they did it. The Orioles have scored 47.7% of their 786 runs this season via home runs. So it's you would think it's got to be a big bat of Henderson or Rutschman. If the Royals can keep the ball in the park. I don't think the Orioles are the type of team that is just going to scrape together 3-4 hits in a row and beat you. I think they have to have the big hit,
which is harder against
the Royals,
a team that pitches so well.
Right
and
now
the ballpark there's a couple parts of that ballpark that aren't easy to hit it out of.
That's fair.
It's not New York Yankee Stadium. It's not the Astros Stadium. It is more of a medium-played park, similar to that as Kansas City. And they got one part of their park that is deep as hell. Really hard to get a home run out of. That one last night, they said 27 different ballparks that would have been a home run out of. So, 90% of the league, that's a homer. Wasn't there. Tough. That's the dimensions of the field. I don't care.
Up next here on Cody and Gold as we get closer and closer to first pitch. Once again, it's 3:38 today here on 96.5 The Fan. Vern's on Deck show at 2 o'clock. We'll get to what's trending, and then we were joined earlier by Cody Decker from SiriusXM, from Beadle and Decker, former big leaguer, former professional baseball player. Wanted to get his perspective, and we did, on the decisions yesterday and how he's feeling about the Royals. Does he think they get it done today? That's next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings, located off 105th in Metcalf and Overland Park, Friday, October 4th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m., celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Light. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Be a knock at your door with somebody trying to repair your roof.
Inexperienced guys will be out and getting homeowners to open up claims. A lot of the times they don't show up for those adjustments. Photo takers might not document everything, and when the file examiner takes a look at it, it ends up in a denied claim or a partial. Give us a call. We'll go from there.
Do what we did and set up your appointment today at manninggc.com or 816-448-8208. The choice is simple. It's Manning Roofing.
The best of the best event at Peter's Clothiers is this Friday and Saturday only.
family. Select from the best designers in the world, such as Samuelson, the best value in custom clothing. Also, custom Zegna cloth, the best fabric for sports coats. Come in to Peter's Clothiers, 124th and State Line.
Hey, football fans, kick the excitement into overtime with a Pro Football No Sweat Token, courtesy of BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Log into your BetMGM account today to receive your Pro Football No Sweat Token. Then apply the token to your next pro football wager. If your bet loses, you'll receive your wager back as bonus bets. That's right. Even if your bet doesn't make it across the goal line, you'll receive your wager back as bonus bets. Bet with confidence all season long with BetMGM. Your home for the best pro football action and much more. Log in today to get your BetMGM Pro Football No Sweat Token. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
COVID-19 cases are on the rise, and peak flu season is almost here. Save time and get the updated COVID-19 vaccine and your flu shot at the same time at Hy-Vee. Schedule your updated COVID-19 vaccine and flu shot online today, or just stop by any Hy-Vee pharmacy whenever it's convenient for you. No appointment necessary. Plus, when you get your flu shot at Hy-Vee, earn a 20-cent fuel saver. Your Hy-Vee pharmacy is here to help you and your family stay healthy. Some restrictions apply.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Chiefs. Everyone develops cataracts naturally as they get older. When your vision is affected by cataracts, you should see my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein at Silverstein Eye Centers. Dr. Silverstein is a world-renowned cataract surgeon who performs life-changing laser-assisted cataract surgery with premium lens implants to correct your vision up close and far away. Trust my eye doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein, Silverstein Eye Centers, 816-358-3600 to schedule an appointment.
At Main Street Credit Union, your success is our goal. Whether you're a financial rookie or a pro, we're here to help. If you're looking to pay down debt, improve your credit score, or buy a car, we'll be right there with you. We're dedicated to providing guidance, education, and essential resources to empower you on your journey toward financial success. We'll help you understand your financial options so even financial rookies will be on their way to reaching their goals. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
For over 36 years, Metal by the Foot has been your source for steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless. Located in Casey and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's also what a lot of us lack in our basement or garage. By switching to a Navien tankless water heater, not only will you have all the hot water you need whenever you need it, but you'll gain storage area as well. Maybe a place to display your space collectibles.
Highly logical.
Learn about Navien's series of high-efficiency tankless water heaters and how they don't just save space, but save dollars on your utility bills too. For more, go to tanklessmadesimple.com.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust new Febreze car vent clips, now with 3 times greater scent control, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with new Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing, which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs.
Picking up! Oscar!
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the third bite, you get the idea. The boss of breakfast burritos, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
Number one on What's Trending, we continue to get set for Royals baseball later on this afternoon. A chance to clinch a spot in the ALDS. First pitch, 3:38 right here on 96.5 The Fan. Vern's on Deck show coming up at 2 o'clock right after us. And if you're trying to get out of work a little early, the place to be going to be Jefferson's here in Lenexa. We'll just repeat ourselves from yesterday. Same spots, same people. Let's just do it all over again. Cody's going to be hanging out this time. We convinced Drew to not leave in the 6th inning today like he did yesterday.
Smart.
That's the only thing that can't happen again.
You have a sales meeting with a Mr. Bancroft. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's right.
Just give him, I'll give you a number for them even to call and be like, did he really have a meeting with you? Did. Very serious. Whatever it takes to get you out and over to Jefferson.
I think Speck said he'll sign doctor's notes as well.
You're not even, it doesn't matter. Your boss, everybody knows. You're not going to do any good work anyway. You might as well just get out of there. The work's going to stink no matter what. You're watching the game on your phone, you're not getting anything quality done anyway. Next up on What's Trending, KC is going to get an NCAA regional again in 2027, so they'll host the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, presumably at Sprint Center during that time. It's been a little while, I think maybe since the Jordan Bell game. Maybe down there at Sprint Center against Kansas was the last time Kansas hosted a Sweet 16 and Elite 8.
No, not too long ago. Remember the year Houston was here? And
you're right.
It was Houston, Miami, I think.
Miami. So a couple years ago.
And KU lost early, and so they're tickets were dirt cheap. It was a kind of a bummer of atmosphere.
They also got awarded a 2025 NCAA D1 soccer championship as well, which will be played over at CPKC.
Nice, that's
good day
cool.
For the NCAA in Kansas City.
Always good to get more events right here in KC. Next up on What's Trending, just some NFL news. Chris Jones named the AFC Defensive Player of the Week. He's off to another great start. Of course, he was so key in the win against the Chargers on Sunday. I still think the conversation, I think it was Kay Adams that was saying, or Diana Rossini, I'm sorry, that he should be Defensive Player of the Year and all that. A lot of work to do for that.
Have we also just not been watching Aiden Hutchinson? Are we just ignoring his game?
He had 5 sacks in week 1 or week 2.
Dude, he's so good. He's been so good.
Now, he's on the NFC, though, right?
Yeah.
But overall, NFL Defensive Player of the Year, you're right.
That's
you're dealing with TJ Watt as well and the sack numbers. I think Chris Jones would have to put up 15 or more just to be in the conversation.
I think so. Although this team will be carried by defense, so we can talk about that maybe tomorrow a little bit more. Next up on What's Trending, an update from bankruptcy court for Bally Sports. The Diamond Sports Group, filing for bankruptcy today, announced that they're dropping every single one of their regional television deals except for the Braves. According to reports, Major League Baseball was blindsided by this decision, now not knowing where 10 or 11 of its sports properties will be broadcasting television games at next week. That adds a whole layer and challenge to what we don't know what's going to happen with the Royals next year. Good news is they'll be on ESPN today, and they're always for free on your home for the Royals, 96.5 The Fan. But the Royals currently do not have a television home.
No, but they could renegotiate with Diamond.
For less money. We just talked about how big of a deal it was when the Royals finally got a decent television.
Yeah, but they could renegotiate and still end up on Bally. They could also find a different partner. There's also Major League Baseball could take it all in-house and then just find a distributor, Amazon, etc. So there's some other options. Like the Royals will be on TV somewhere next year, I can promise you. And look, based off of everybody's feeling about Bally this year, it's hard to imagine it can be a worse setup for those that have used that as a reason why they didn't get locked in throughout this season. But you're right. Today, it's obviously on ESPN, and then, of course, you can listen to the games on 96.5 The Fan.
I would just prefer it be on one of my preferred platforms. Get it on Amazon, get it on Netflix, these other platforms who've been trying to get into live sports anyway. Apple TV obviously already does that. Put it on a platform that already does some of it, and I'm in.
That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Coming up, before we get out of here, we'll, of course, get our final predictions, how today's going to go, and lock in some more of our bets. Plus, we have promised some rally shots, I think, at some point in time, depending on what happens. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But earlier today, we had Cody Decker join us. The last time we had him on the show, we were out in Las Vegas at Circa, and at that point in time, he mentioned, hey, the Royals, if they advance, they get to the postseason, the Yankees might actually be a team you want to face if the Yankees are going to be coming off of the first-round bye. Well, that's the scenario that could happen if the Royals do advance today. But Cody Decker from Sirius XM Mad Dog Radio joined us earlier, and we asked him what he thought of the Chiefs and how that makes him feel, given his history with the organization.
Oh, I'm feeling just as good as you guys are, man.
Well, you were a former member of the Royals organization. Do you like seeing him succeed?
Yes, I do. I was a big fan of that organization. Yeah, it was heartbreaking when they told me after they flew me to Kansas City that I'm going to Omaha, and then they traded me roughly 3 hours later. Ugh. But don't think for a second I don't support this organization. I do. Good people, good fan base. It's a great city. How can you not love the Royals and everything they've accomplished this year? I'll freely admit this. Now, everyone can come at me with their pitchforks all they want. I did not see a playoff run this year. I saw a step forward, but, man, this was 5 steps forwards, and I couldn't be more excited for the team right now. I think they're going to go ahead and take this wild card series. And like you said, if they win this game today, they have a hell of a pitching matchup going into the weekend against the Yankees. By the way, that 5-day off scenario, I had Eduardo Rodriguez on my show yesterday. He feels the same way I do. The Yankees got a lot of swing and miss, man. This is very much available for the Royals taking if they get it done tonight.
We have played the audio of you from August when you joined us talking about that very thing multiple times, Cody, where you mentioned if you were to face a team in the postseason, maybe who would you like to see? And you mentioned the exact scenario back in August that, hey, the New York Yankees, you give them some time off and they're a little rusty and swing and miss, all that could contribute to, an opportunity for the Royals, and that's maybe the team that they want to see. I know they got to handle business today, but that sets up where it could be a good thing for the Royals.
It really could be. And make no mistake, I do think that the Yankees are the best team in the league. But I don't need to tell you guys, it's not about the best team. If this is the best team to win the World Series every year, the Dodgers would have 10 World Series, and they do not.
What do you make of typically, and you've watched a lot of baseball over your years, seen a lot of players go through it. Do you think when it comes to the playoffs and that clutch factor or performing in the playoffs, you either just have it or you don't? I mean, Cole Reagins was in his first ever playoff start and dominated. Maikel Garcia has been bad, honestly, for the Royals for the last 60 days, and seemingly like his cousin Alcides Escobar turns it on a little different when the lights are on. Is it just as simple as you have it or you don't, and no amount of time is going to make a difference, or is there an advantage for these teams who have maybe played in a few of these?
The answer is yes and no to everything you just asked. The real answer, I think, at the end of the day, is that baseball is just weird. I mean, people come and rise to the occasions at the weirdest moments, and also guys get cold at the weirdest moments. As much as I want to say, yeah, now make no mistake, Reagins absolutely dominated that game yesterday, and it was a phenomenal watch to see. But let's be real clear. A lot of teams going into the playoffs, the bats get cold. It's a combination of a lot of things. It's a different environment. It's a different crowd. It's a different exposure. Hell, these are teams right now, specifically the Royals. I mean, I don't think I need to tell you guys, the Royals aren't moving a ton of paper as far as the national media landscape. So this is really a coming out party for every member of this team, except for maybe Salvador Perez, because he's might be the only guy that the most of the country actually knows. Same with Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. needs to be a star, and this is an opportunity for him to become a legit star. Don't think he's not one of the best in baseball. He absolutely is. But I want people to talk about him the way we started talking about Mike Trout 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think somebody put out that unfortunately for Mike Trout, that I think Bobby Witt Jr. already has, as many playoff wins more playoff wins than Mike Trout had in his career. That's just sad to say, right?
Very, very, very sad to say.
Cody Decker joining us here on Cody and Gold. You mentioned Bobby Witt Jr. there as well. What do you make of the decision there? I know Brandon Hyde, the Orioles manager, was asked about it. He said he left it up to Corbin Burns, but they pitched to Bobby Witt Jr. there instead of walking him to bring out Vinnie Pasquantino, who hadn't hit in a month.
You know how this goes, man. I think they made the right decision by going after him. It's not like he hit a 3-run home run. He hit an RBI single, and it was a 1-0 ball game. I think if you give him the opportunity to make that decision today, he won't make the same mistake twice, and he'll probably pitch around him and make the rest of the team beat him. But it won't matter because you put that man on base, barring the fact that you might be clogging the base if there's somebody else on first base, and so there's runners on first and second. Bobby Witt Jr. is just going to take second base. And if that happens, all of a sudden you got chaos on the base path. You have yourselves movement. And I don't think that's something that the Orioles want. Just because Bobby Witt Jr. can absolutely be in scoring position with nobody on base and he is just in the box by himself, you don't want Bobby Witt Jr. on the base paths in a playoff scenario either.
Is this why the Royals do better when they get to the – look, they don't get to the postseason often, Cody, admittedly. I've been in Kansas City my whole life. I get it. But when they get to the postseason, they seem to have a lot more success than other teams. Yesterday with Baltimore, Ryan O'Hearn gets on base with a walk. They got no one to just get on the base paths and actually do something for them. Score from first on a double, steal a base so that a single's away, score on a pass ball. Are there teams that make the mistake of not structuring their playoff rosters around the need for one run matters more in the postseason?
I don't know if it's necessarily a mistake. More so, the Royals just need to build themselves differently. I don't think it's out of the realm of obviousness that this is a team that doesn't spend a ton of money. That this last year kind of a bit of an outlier. But like this offseason, Juan Soto's going to be a free agent. Are the Royals going to be in on him? Absolutely not. They have to build.
I hope so, but probably not.
I would love it, and he would look so good in that uni. But let's be real clear. It just ain't happening. So they got to build from within, and they have to build different ways. And one of the ways they've already shown, the proven model from the previous regime, is basically just trying to create yourselves a God-tier bullpen, which they have done a pretty good job of getting a starting staff, making some interesting moves. But even though they spent $100 million this offseason, it's not like every name that they got was like, oh, man, this is the one that's going to do it. It's not about getting the best players. It's about getting the right players. And this Royals front office has done a phenomenal job of getting the right players. And it's not necessarily being that team that wins 9 out of 10 every single 10 games, but winning 6 out of 10 and being consistently winning 6 out of 10, squeaking in a 7 out of 10 type of scenario. This is a very sustainable model for this team in a very tough division because it's a similar model to what the Cleveland Guardians are doing. It's a similar model now that the Detroit Tigers are doing. I think this is going to be one hell of a dogfight in this division for years to come. And I think that the Royals have everything available to them right now to win a World Series. We'll just see how it plays out because, one, they got to win this one against the Orioles, and we can't pretend that the Orioles are a bad team. They are not. They're just playing bad baseball for the last 30 days, and it's a bad time to get cold. Then they're going up against the Yankees. If they can catch the Yankees on a bit of a cold streak, this just might be a team of destiny. I just don't know what we're going to see out of it yet. But, man, as a baseball fan, as a supporter of the Kansas City Royals, I'm all for it, bro.
Somebody that got a lot of people excited yesterday going into the game was Vinnie Pasquantino. The fact that a month after breaking his thumb, he was able to be in the lineup. I know he didn't come up with a hit yesterday, but just speak to how amazing that recovery is, and then also the challenges that he's probably facing right now just from a timing perspective, how hard it is for him to jump right back into the lineup with no rehab assignment or anything and try to contribute to this team.
Dude, I just told you how hard it's going to be for the Yankees to take 5 days off. Imagine 35 days off. But listen, his bat just being a presence in the lineup, we already saw it actually come to fruition yesterday. He didn't need to get the hit. He just needed to be there, so they pitched to Bobby Witt Jr. Now that that's worked out, hopefully he's gotten himself 4 at-bats under his belt. He can kind of get his timing a little bit there and maybe get on base on his own merits. But so far, just his overall presence has helped them win a baseball game.
I want to ask you one small thing about something he mentioned yesterday from a former professional standpoint. He'd mentioned in his press conference he had to change to a lighter colored bat, and it was like throwing him off watching his swing through the zone. I don't know why. It must be like the composite or makeup of the bat relative to how he holds it in his thumb. Does that make a big difference for baseball players, the color of their bat?
Listen, baseball players are weird, dude. It could be anything. It could be we didn't like how we sat on the toilet yesterday, so we have to change how we sat on the toilet yesterday. Trust me, we're superstitious to a fault. It's stupid. It makes no sense. The color of the bat has no bearing on the hitter life or the swing. But you know what? If he thinks it does, you betcha it does.
Last one for you, Cody. Tigers, you mentioned them. They're playing as good a baseball as anybody. How do you see that playing out? Do you think both AL Central teams get into the next round?
I think they're both going to get to the next round. I currently have both of them ending in the next round, but I would very much like to be wrong. The Detroit Tigers are a very, very exciting little surprised? Who actually saw that coming, especially going into September? I'm always a fan of watching the Minnesota Twins collapse. I'm not even certain why I like watching the Minnesota Twins collapse. It's just a hobby of mine every single September, and why would we stop this year?
Cody Decker from SiriusXM's Mad Dog Radio. You can hear him on Beetle and Decker. Appreciate it, man, and we'll have to see you out in Vegas sometime soon.
Bro, I'm always in Vegas. Come find me. Let's do some stuff. Go Royals.
Yeah, there you go. Cody Decker with us. Thinking of Las Vegas, we are going to be in Vegas
Sure.
3.5 weeks from now, something like that.
3 weeks, I think. I don't even know.
23rd, I think.
I was like, I don't think you need to add the half week. I think it's 3 weeks
true.
from today.
We'll be out there.
3 weeks from tomorrow, we'll start hosting.
Chiefs Raiders. We'll be out at Circa Las Vegas. If you're going to be out there that weekend, maybe you're on the fence. I was talking to somebody yesterday after we were here. I went to another place afterwards to meet up with some friends, and they were talking about it as well. I think I got 2 more people to make
got
the
them
trip
locked
out,
in, huh?
To Las Vegas to join us there. We're going to have a big party on that Friday night, a chance to win some tickets to game day as well. It's going to be a lot of fun out there. But what Decker said when you asked about Vinny and changing the bat and all that, it sounds like one superstition, but also maybe the bat's a little lighter on the thumb versus the black bat that he was dealing with before.
I think that there probably is like a slight weight difference. And he wants to be faster through the zone. He likes to carry a heavier bat probably for the, same thing. More pressure applied to the baseball, further the ball might go. Harder he might hit it. But if that's the sacrifice he's got to make, we talked about it yesterday. He's still 90% of Vinny is better than the alternative. 80% of Vinny is better than the alternative. I imagine they thought about that very carefully when they were making this decision about whether or not to play him. But it sounds like they've been thinking about it for 10 days. Yesterday was perfect, because they didn't need Vinny to come back through, but I'll still say that the threat of Vinny behind Bobby Witt Jr.
Absolutely.
At least forced them to throw to Bobby Witt Jr., the person who had the game-winning and the only RBI of the game. If that is Yuli Gurriel, or that is Hunter Renfroe, or Tommy Pham, or Mass, whoever the hell it would have been behind him, they walk Bobby. And that player has to come through. And maybe they do. You know what? Maybe they come through. Maybe Gurriel comes through with the hit. But I'd rather take my chance with Bobby coming through on that hit, which he did, than anyone else in the lineup. So Vinny's threat was real, and as a result of that, they actually threw to Bobby.
We'll see if that same type of scenario comes up again today. You like the Royals in their pitching matchup in particular, the edge that they have with Seth Lugo. How do you see this one going? We'll ask the text line as well, 913-586-7965. Do they wrap this thing up today, or are we stressing out tomorrow and sweating out a Game 3 in the afternoon again? Or can we go ahead and, after this game today, be able to focus in on the Yankees Saturday?
I'll say history's on your side. 8 times, 8-0, since the wild card expanded to 3 playoff teams, because I think you're getting less quality teams in there, they have won the series. And 7 of those 8 times, they have swept. So if I'm supposed to predict what happens today, I'll take history. 7 of 8 times, it's just been a clean sweep, and they won both games. Royals win today. Low scoring again. I don't know, 3-2. I don't imagine we're going to be able to get out of this thing stress-free. I can't remember the last time the Royals went through a stretch of baseball games where they're winning by 2 or 3 runs a pop, 3 or 4 or 5 runs a pop. I think it's probably 3-2. Royals win.
Yesterday, I think I said 4-2. I think I don't want to give you the exact same score, but it's probably in that area. 3-2. 4-2.
We both thought 4-2 yesterday, it being 1-0.
Yeah, so. I'll go 4-2 again today. How about that? I'll just roll with 4-2 again today. I think there's an opportunity. There's a drop off in pitching quality from what the Royals saw yesterday in Corbin Burns to Eflin today. I'm not saying he's bad, but
I think it's an advantage to get him early.
And when you look at Baltimore, as much as we've talked about the Royals' offensive issues, it's not like that offense has been hitting great recently. Yeah, on paper they're a better offense. But if they go and only have a hit or 2 through the first 3 or 4 innings, the same thing we said on the Royals side, but the difference is their season is truly on the line today in Baltimore. So if you can get a couple innings of Seth Lugo looking like he has a majority of the season, a guy that was an all-star, if that kind of Seth Lugo shows up in this spot, and honestly, I kind of expect that to be the case. And we're in the 4th inning, and the Orioles have one hit, 2 hits, no runs. Even if the Royals are in the same spot, I think advantage still continues to be the Royals at that spot, because they're the team that is going to have all the pressure today there in Baltimore. And what Vern mentioned with us earlier today, that is few innings of that, and all of a sudden that crowd is completely quiet, and they get nervous themselves, and they start thinking worst-case scenario stuff. That trickles down to the clubhouse or to the dugout as well. So I think the Royals are in a really good spot as long as they don't drop 2 runs early and give all the momentum and energy in the building to Baltimore.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most important. Eflin gave up. He only went 4 2/3, gave up 4 runs in his last start. but he's got a little over 3 earned run average in September. So he's had a nice September. Not surprising he's their selection today, but still, it's not Corbin Burns.
Guy stepping up today, Hunter Renfroe, back in the lineup. He's 5 of 13 against Zach, so let's go with Hunter Renfroe. That's my player to watch to come up with
That's
a big
your guy?
hit. To come with a big hit today, Hunter Renfroe. Who's your guy, Vinny?
Well, I mean, if Vern and I are buying any shots, it's probably that. But I wouldn't bet against that, but I also wouldn't bet against Michael Garcia.
All right, we hope to see you out here at Jefferson's in Lenexa. 3:38 first pitch right here on 96.5 The Fan. Vern's on Deck show coming up right after us.
This is Cody and Gold on